Chapter 3370. Sensing the demonic spirit dragon's weak aura, everyone's face relaxed. They did not expect the mission to go so smoothly. Fortunately, they had Zichen with them. Although they did not know why the demon spirit dragon's soul bone was so powerful, they had to admit that his presence made the battle so easy and quick. Yao Ming heaved a sigh of relief and said, "It's severely injured. Let's seal it. After all, a 3-star demon spirit dragon is very valuable." Severely injured? Seal? Valuable? Before the few of them could reply, a low and deep voice suddenly sounded from below. It was the demon spirit dragon. An even more powerful aura swept over from below. The smoke and dust that filled the sky dissipated in an instant. The demon spirit dragon, which was full of wounds, appeared clearly in front of everyone. The wounds on its body were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. An ancient and powerful aura was released from its body. Yao Ming and the others were shocked when they sensed the ancient aura. The ancient aura filled every corner of the planet. The pressure was suffocating. "The ancient demon spirit dragon!" Shinken exclaimed. Her eyes were filled with horror. The other two had the same expression on their faces. Zichen did not understand the meaning of the ancient demon spirit dragon, but he could feel how powerful and terrifying the demon spirit dragon was from the ancient aura. The wounds on the demon spirit dragon's body healed in the blink of an eye. The demon spirit dragon was a high-level life form in the demon tribe. Its combat strength was very strong. The demon spirit dragon was so powerful when it only obtained a wisp of its soul. The real demon spirit dragon was naturally stronger. Zichen could hurt the demon spirit dragon earlier because of the power of the 7 demon bones. Otherwise, he would not have been able to break through its defense. The ancient demon spirit dragon represented the most primitive existence. This kind of demon spirit dragon was extremely rare in the demon tribe. It was equivalent to the ancestor of the demon spirit dragons. The demon spirit dragon was already very strong. If the ancestor of the demon spirit dragon appeared, its combat strength could be imagined. The demon spirit dragon, which had an ancient aura, looked up at the 4 of them. Its cold eyes were filled with coldness. "Let's see who will be sealed next!" The ancient demon spirit dragon suddenly disappeared. It suddenly appeared beside Shinken and lashed out with its tail, causing cracks to appear in the air. With a loud bang, a terrifying shockwave spread out in all directions. Shinken coughed up blood and flew backwards. "Brilliant son!" Yao Ming shouted. His previous attack appeared once again. He carried a sun-like attack and went straight for the ancient demonic dragon. His previous move had directly injured his opponent. However, at this moment, he did not have the slightest bit of confidence. After the ancient demon spirit dragon sent Shinken flying, it turned around and looked at him coldly. In the next moment, a dragon roar resounded through the air as it swung its dragon claw down. With a boom, the sun-like attack exploded, and Yao Ming was sent flying by a powerful shockwave. The ancient demon spirit dragon easily passed through the violent energy and flew towards Yuleng. "Moon Lotus!" Yuleng pointed at the ancient devil spirit dragon. Rays of light shot out like seeds towards the ancient devil spirit dragon. Demonic chi surged on the ancient demon spirit dragon's body, and the light spots along the way were all shattered. However, there was still one that entered the ancient demon spirit dragon's body, but this time, there was no moon lotus. In fact, there was no other abnormality. Yuleng's expression changed. In the next moment, she was sent flying again by the ancient demon spirit dragon. Fortunately, none of them were extraordinary existences. Their bodies were still intact, and they were only injured. Everyone's expression did not look good. Who would have thought that the ancient demon spirit dragon would suddenly become the ancient demon spirit dragon? At this moment, the ancient demon spirit dragon was charging towards Zichen. Zichen was using Thunder Flash to dodge. "Kid from the Sacred Thunder region, I will tear you apart!" Demonic chi surged around the ancient demon spirit dragon. The surrounding space began to distort, which affected the performance of Thunder Flash. Zichen dodged in a flash and struck out with a punch again, similarly with full force. However, this punch did not land. Instead, it met the ancient demon spirit dragon's dragon claw. With a loud bang, a powerful shockwave spread out. Zichen and the ancient demon spirit dragon were both sent flying. Zichen, who was sent flying, had blood flowing out from the corner of his mouth. He was also injured. He looked at the other three. The three of them looked terrible. At this moment, they were hesitating. Zichen did not think that the three of them did not do their homework before coming here. Moreover, they were all from different sacred regions. Just their background alone was much more powerful than his. What? Are you trying to run away? Let me tell you, none of you can run away. Demon Spirit Dragon Seal! Demonic chi surged from the ancient demon spirit dragon. An ancient aura filled the entire continent. The sky suddenly darkened. It was as dark as night. One could not even see their own fingers. Demonic chi filled the sky and sealed the entire planet. One after another, demon spirit dragons rolled in the demonic chi. These demon spirit dragons were all formed by seals. We've been sealed. Shinken wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and said in a low voice. Zichen's expression became serious. Their goal was to seal the demon spirit dragon. Now they were the ones being sealed. Yao Ming looked up at the sky and said in a low voice, "The ancient demon spirit dragon's combat power is very strong. Its defense is even more terrifying. With our strength, it's almost impossible to hurt it. Are we going to use it? Then we'll suffer a loss," Yiling said. Shinken said, "Compared to suffering a loss, isn't losing our lives more terrifying?" Yao Ming said, "Since things have come to this, we can only bargain when we return alive." After saying that, a talisman appeared in his hand. The talisman emitted a dazzling light. It was like Xingqian in the dark night, illuminating the surroundings. At the same time, a talisman appeared in Xingqian and Yuling's hands. Other than having many people and secrets, the sacred spirit talisman was also one of the best. It could increase the strength of a sacred spirit regardless of attribute. It was a rare and precious treasure. The reward for the three of them was a talisman each. It was something that could save their lives at a critical moment. There were very few of them, and they were never sold. When the three of them took out their talismans, they were extremely heartbroken. But soon they realized that Zichen did not move. Yiling said, "Zichen, what are you waiting for? Talismans are nothing compared to your life." Zichen smiled bitterly when he heard that. "Would you believe me if I told you that I'm here to return a favor without asking for any reward?" The three of them turned pale when they heard that. Yao Ming said, "Zichen, stop fooling around. You'll die. This ancient demon spirit dragon is a 3-star sacred spirit. Its combat power is far beyond ours. Even if we use the talisman, we may not be able to win." Zichen said, "I'm not lying to you. But I still have a move that's stronger than the previous one." Chapter 3371. Seeing Zichen's serious expression, the three of them were speechless. Was there really such an idiot in the world? To return a favor, he came here to risk his life? However, since things had already come to this, the three of them did not say anything else. They activated their talismans and stuck them on their bodies. A ripple appeared on the talismans, which then merged into their bodies. The next moment, their aura began to skyrocket. The ancient demon spirit dragon ignored the three of them and stared at Zichen. "It's the demonic saber of the demon race. Why is it in your hands?" Zichen took a deep breath. Ever since he combined the 7 demonic sabers, he had only attacked once. After reaching the Holy Spirit realm, the demonic saber had not attacked even once. Similarly, the spirit cultivation saber scabbard had been nourishing the demonic saber. Therefore, Zichen's first attack was definitely powerful, and it was also his most powerful attack. He held the saber tightly and said in a deep voice, "You guys go first." At this moment of life and death, it did not matter who went first. Yao Ming and the other two immediately rushed forward. The powerful attacks from the sun, moon, and star races were displayed once again. Ninefold starfield, open again! In the dark sky, the Xingqian diagram appeared. The starfields in the diagram opened layer by layer, and countless Xingqian swords fell from the sky. After activating the talismans, Xingqian swords were even more powerful this time, and they hit the ancient demon spirit dragon. The defensive light on the ancient demon spirit dragon's body immediately dimmed. At the same time, cracks began to appear on the scales that were shining brightly. The ancient demon spirit dragon was in pain. It swept its tail, and many of the swords were shattered. Xingqian gritted her teeth and formed a seal. Xingqian's swords were still falling rapidly. The dragon's roar reverberated through the sky, shattering part of the swords. The ancient demon spirit dragon soared into the sky. At this moment, Yao Ming arrived with a sun. Sword of Yao Yang! The advancing sun was dazzling. It collided with the ancient demon spirit dragon's dragon claw and exploded. When the energy of the sun exploded, a sword appeared from within. The sword light shone brighter and brighter, directly piercing through the ancient demonic spirit dragon's dragon claw. Just as the ancient demon spirit dragon was in pain, Yulin appeared in a flash. A moon floated above his head, and an arc flew out from the moon. The arc expanded and enveloped the ancient demon spirit dragon's body. Pieces of scales were shattered and blood splattered everywhere. The ancient demon spirit dragon was sent tumbling away. Zichen exhaled heavily before activating Thunder Flash. He arrived behind the ancient demon spirit dragon and gripped the hilt of the demonic saber with his right hand. The ancient demonic dragon's aura suddenly changed as it swept its tail towards Tang Wuling. Thunder Flash. Zichen disappeared and reappeared on the other side. Lightning surged on his body, and the power of lightning converged on the hilt of the saber. At the same time, his complete hand appeared. At this moment, Zichen didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless or hold back. He used his strongest move. The dragon claw approached, bringing with it the power to tear through space as it headed straight for Zichen. Whoosh! Zichen unsheathed his saber. A flash of light streaked across the sky. The world suddenly lit up as if light had returned to the world. The surface of the demonic saber was surrounded by lightning as it swept forward. The dragon claw that was about to land on Zichen suddenly lost all its power and fell to the ground. The saber light didn't disperse. It continued forward and swept past the ancient demon spirit dragon's body. There was a deep wound on the ancient demon spirit dragon's body. Its scales, which had a strong defense, were neatly cut through, revealing the white bones inside. Blood gushed out from the wound like a river of blood. It rolled and screamed in pain. The space around it was distorted even more violently. The three people who used their talismans were shocked when they saw this scene. Obviously, Zichen's saber was even more shocking than the punch from before. Slap! Zichen couldn't dodge in time. His body was hit by the dragon's tail, and he was sent flying. He was coughing up blood. He felt like all the bones in his body were about to fall apart. This is our chance. Do it! Yao Ming shouted in shock. Once again, a powerful force gathered in his palm and turned into a sun. Sword of Yao Yang. At the same time, Yulin pointed her finger in the air. Light spots flowed into the ancient demon spirit dragon's wound. Buzz! As the energy vibrated, lotuses bloomed on the ancient demon spirit dragon's body one after another, devouring its vitality. Xingqian didn't back down. Countless Xingqian swords rained down on the ancient demon spirit dragon. Following the original wound, Yao Ming's sword of Yaoyang tore a second huge wound on the ancient demon spirit dragon's body. However, the ancient demon spirit dragon also showed its prowess. Its powerful energy surged and the three people were sent flying. At this time, Zichen, who had adjusted his breath, moved forward again and slashed down with his saber. Although the power of this slash wasn't as strong as the previous one, it was still Zichen's peak attack. The saber light pierced through the air and easily cut through the ancient demon spirit dragon's scales, injuring it severely again. The ancient demon spirit dragon had many wounds on its body. Billowing demonic aura wrapped around its wounds and the wounds began to heal. Not good. Everyone, hurry up! Yao Ming reminded. Everyone attacked again, unleashing all kinds of powerful attacks. Zichen also attacked continuously with his saber. Each attack was filled with his full strength. As for the lightning manipulation technique, he didn't dare to use it under such circumstances because he couldn't be sure if the lightning manipulation technique would take away all of his life before it landed. The four of them attacked together. Their teamwork was getting better and better. Although the ancient demon spirit dragon's defense was very strong, it couldn't withstand the continuous attacks of the four people. As they continued to exchange blows, the ancient demon spirit dragon's breath became weaker and weaker. It seemed like it wouldn't be able to hold on much longer. There was a hint of joy on everyone's faces. Right at this moment, the ancient demon spirit dragon suddenly let out a resounding dragon roar, and the seal in the sky suddenly disappeared. The many demon spirit dragons that were hiding in the sky descended from the sky and entered the ancient demon spirit dragon's body. The ancient demon spirit dragon's weak breath became strong again. Feeling the dangerous breath, everyone who had just calmed down changed their expressions again. Zichen used Thunder Flash to get closer. He unsheathed his saber again. The sharp saber light entered the original wound and flew out from the other side. It completely penetrated the dragon's body. The ancient demon spirit dragon was in pain. It looked at Zichen with eyes full of cold, murderous intent. A small demon spirit dragon flew out from its mind and went straight into Zichen's sea of consciousness. It was a soul attack. Zichen's body trembled. He stood motionless in midair. The ancient demon spirit dragon swung its tail and whipped Zichen. Accompanied by the sound of bones breaking, Zichen was sent flying. The ancient demon spirit dragon didn't immediately chase after Zichen. Instead, it spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood immediately spread out and formed a huge bloody halo. Chapter 3372. Yao Ming's expression changed when he saw the tunnel. He shouted, "Stop it! It's trying to escape!" He flew forward, leaving a trail of rainbow light behind him. "Star Rain's sword! Fall!" Xingqian pointed at the ancient demon mystical dragon. Xing Chen's sword rain fell. The ancient demon mystical dragon did not dodge. Instead, it took the sword rain head-on and rushed into the blood-red circle. At the same time, Yu Ming's attack was blocked by the dragon as well. As the ancient demon mystical dragon rushed into the tunnel, the entire blood-red tunnel began to distort and become unstable. It could collapse at any time. Moon shadow stabilizes heaven and earth. Yu Ling made her move. A bright moon appeared in the sky and shone down on the blood-red circle. There was a strange fluctuation in the moonlight. The blood-red circle that was about to collapse became stable again. "The tunnel it opened is very far. I can't hold on for long," Yu Ling said in a low voice. Yao Ming and Xingqian rushed into the blood-red circle without hesitation. At the same time, a ray of light flew out from Xingqian's body. Like a chain, it tightly wrapped around Zichen and pulled him into the blood-red circle. Although Zichen was a one-star holy spirit, he had shown enough strength in the previous battle. Without Zichen, they might not have the confidence to deal with the ancient demon mystical dragon. After the three of them entered, Yu Ling gritted her teeth and rushed into the blood-red circle. Just as he flew into the circle, the bright moon above him exploded with a loud bang. At the same time, the blood-red circle collapsed. After a while, the surroundings returned to silence, but it was a mess. After a long time, two people came to this faraway planet. After glancing at the battlefield, they said in a low voice, "Everything is going according to plan." The next moment, the two disappeared. Zichen did not expect that his first battle after becoming a holy spirit would be so embarrassing. Although the ancient demon spirit dragon's attack didn't kill him, it had injured his soul. At the same time, the dragon tail attack had broken his ribs. Fortunately, the four of them had joined forces this time. If it had been him alone, he would not have been able to win at all and would have fled long ago. Xingqian looked back at Zichen and asked, "What do you think?" "He's injured, but he won't die." As Zichen spoke, he immediately took out a medicinal pill and swallowed it. This was the medicinal pill he had snatched from the battlefield of gods and demons. And in terms of repairing the soul, the god race's medicinal pills were extremely effective. However, it seemed that because Zichen had already become a holy spirit, these spirit ascension pills were obviously not very effective. Thus, Zichen swallowed a few more pills to strengthen the effect. Shinken noticed this. She turned around and looked at Zichen. "Are you really here to return the favor?" Zichen nodded and said, "I owed you a favor when I was in the spirit ascension tier, so I came to repay it the moment I broke through." Shinken said, "Then you'll suffer a loss." Zichen smiled faintly and said, "It's not a loss. He helped me back then, so it's only right that I help him now." Shinken continued, "Even if he didn't give you a talisman, he should have at least given you a holy spirit healing medicinal pill, right?" Zichen's body flickered with lightning as he catalyzed the medicinal pill. In addition, his injuries were not too serious, so he had already recovered a lot by now. He said, "Did the ancient demon spirit dragon run away?" Shinken withdrew the light of energy around Zichen and said, "Don't worry, Yao Ming has a special tracking method. It can't run away." As if to verify Shinken's words, Yao Ming, who was traveling through the void, quickly found the traces of the ancient demon spirit dragon. Facing the encirclement of 4 people, the ancient demon spirit dragon was also heavily injured. Otherwise, it would not have run away. While it was healing, when it saw the 4 people coming again, it could only fight again. Zichen continued to attack with his blade. This was the only move he could use to injure his opponent. As for the other 3, they did not dare to hold back either. It was worth mentioning that the talisman from the sacred shadow sky could be retrieved midway. It was a consumable item that could be used multiple times. After a series of battles, the 4 of them were injured, and the ancient demon spirit dragon's injuries were even more serious. It ran away again. It was the same method that could forcibly pass through space. Yulin locked the passage again, and the 4 people entered it one after another. Yao Ming continued to pursue in front. Zichen could only continue to swallow medicinal pills to recover from his injuries. Just as Shinken said this time, he had suffered a great loss. However, thinking about the lightning controlling art that he had obtained, which had helped him resolve many crises, Zichen slowly felt relieved. The pursuit was still going on, and he did not know how long it would last. Slowly Zichen found a problem. It seemed that the 3 of them had different roles. For example, Yao Ming was in charge of tracking. No matter where the ancient demon spirit dragon ran or what method it used to hide, it could not escape from Yao Ming's pursuit. As for Yuling's role, it was even more obvious. No matter how heavily injured she was, she could lock the passage that the ancient demon spirit dragon escaped through. In comparison, Shinken's role was less complicated. She opened the 9-fold starfield and continuously attacked the ancient demon spirit dragon. In fact, this was only on the surface. Shinken's real role was to lock the ancient demon spirit dragon so that it could not escape. While moving forward, Zichen remembered what Lei Tianshi said. The purpose of these people was to seal, not to kill. There were also some follow-up matters. What he needed to do was to seal the ancient demon spirit dragon with the others. As for the other plans, they would be arranged by Lei Tianshi. Damn it! This holy demon does not believe that you can keep on chasing. After being chased for so many times, the ancient demon spirit dragon was completely enraged. This time, it coughed out a few mouthfuls of dragon blood. Its body had shrunk significantly, as if it had used up a lot of energy. A bigger passage appeared, and it entered the passage. Lock! Yuling's voice was still firm. Countless moonlight shone down and locked the passage. The 4 of them entered one after another. After coming out of the passage, Zichen noticed that there were some changes in the surroundings. The suppressive force unique to the Saint Spirit realm had disappeared. He gently waved his hand, and the space was torn open. A huge black crack appeared and extended to the distance. Just as Zichen was shocked, Shinken exclaimed, "We've come to the 10,000 spirit realm." "That's right. It's the aura of the lower realm." Yuling nodded. The 10,000 spirit realm was another area. It was similar to the life star that Zichen came to when he came to the Saint's spirit realm. There were many planets here, and it was a low-level area. In this place, the Saint's spirit realm was no longer suppressed. Zichen looked around and saw many planets. As he extended his spiritual senses, he felt that there were countless living beings living on those planets. There were ordinary humans and human cultivators among them. It entered a low-level world. Let's go after it. Chapter 3373. The ancient demon spirit dragon rushed into a low-level world. Its powerful demonic consciousness immediately spread out and sensed the countless living beings living here. It looked up at the sky and said indifferently, "Didn't you want this holy demon to die? Then this holy demon will perish together with this world." It wasn't clear if this was a threat, but it didn't have any effect. A beam of light descended from the sky and landed on the ancient demon spirit dragon's body. A powerful shockwave spread out. In an instant, about 1/10 of this world was turned into ruins. Wherever the shockwave passed, mountains collapsed, rivers flowed in reverse, and all kinds of destructive phenomena appeared. The ancient demon spirit dragon landed on the ground. Countless holy demon blood splattered in the air and scattered all over the world. When Zichen arrived, what he saw was a tragic scene that looked like the end of the world. And all of this was because Yao Ming and the ancient demon spirit dragon had exchanged a single blow. However, to the living beings and humans of this world, it was like a battle between gods. They could destroy this world and all living beings with a snap of their fingers. "Stop!" Zichen shouted. "If you want to fight, fight outside!" As the shockwave spread out, countless living beings died. "Ha ha!" The ancient demon spirit dragon laughed. In the next moment, a dragon roar resounded. The dragon's roar spread out in all directions, bringing with it a tremendous pressure. In an instant, who knew how many humans and living beings were killed? The entire world was in a state of doomsday. During this time, many elderly people were kowtowing to the sky, praying for mercy. There were also some people who were complaining about their sins to the sky, thinking that this was a punishment from the heavens. Many cultivators were running away in panic, terrified. Listening to the voices from afar, Zichen learned that this continent was called True Martial. However, this disaster wasn't a natural disaster, but a man-made one. Yuling and Shinken rushed up and fought the ancient demon spirit dragon. Looking at this scene of destruction, Zichen said loudly, "Stop fighting, go outside, or this place will collapse." Yao Ming said in a low voice, "If we let it escape, it will be very difficult for us to catch it again. It will continue to wreak havoc and destroy many planets and continents. The only thing we can do is to kill it completely here or seal it." Seeing that the three of them had no intention of stopping, if they continued to fight like this, all the living beings in this world would die. Zichen immediately swooped down and began to attack with his saber. Every strike was at full strength. Blade light flashed. There was demonic power, as well as the holy power of thunder. The demonic bone was completely activated by him. Every time the blade fell, the ancient demonic spirit dragon would be severely injured. Dragon scales and dragon blood would fall to the ground. Meanwhile, the ancient demonic spirit dragon was also in a state of rage. It was fighting against them without regard for its own life. They were also injured one after another. After more than 10 slashes, Zichen put away his saber. His gaze was cold because more than half of the living beings in this world had died. If this continued, this world would eventually be destroyed. He began to form a hand seal, and lightning flowed around his fingertips. It was the lightning controlling technique. Seal up, seal down. Zichen's aura immediately weakened, as if his life force had been sucked away. The sky suddenly lit up. A ray of light pierced through the sky, coming from beyond the sky and landing in this world called True Martial. The ancient demonic spirit dragon that was fighting against the three of them looked up at the sky as if it was facing a great enemy. Lightning struck. A thunderous roar resounded throughout the world. The ancient demonic spirit dragon let out a painful roar as its body fell to the ground. Zichen's body that was hovering in the air swayed and almost fell. Yao Ming and the others who were heavily injured saw that the ancient demonic spirit dragon was heavily injured and had almost lost its ability to fight. Their eyes immediately lit up. In the next moment, the three of them flew down. The three of them immediately formed a hand seal and yelled. The ground rumbled as a towering mountain appeared. The ancient demonic spirit dragon was lying on top of the mountain. Zichen, it's heavily injured and on the verge of death. Come and form the four spirits demon sealing formation with us, Shinken shouted. The previous attack had drained Zichen greatly. Not only did it consume his energy, but it also consumed his soul and life force. But the effect was also very obvious. The ancient demonic spirit dragon no longer had any ability to fight. If it wasn't for its unique ancient bloodline, it would have died long ago. I don't know how to. Zichen stepped forward and said. Yuling pointed a ray of light at Zichen's forehead. It was a type of seal. Our seals are the same, the only difference is the energy. This seal requires the power of the four spirits, Yuling explained. Zichen quickly checked the seal and nodded. The four of them descended from the sky and landed on the mountain. The power of the sun, moon, stars, and lightning flowed around the four of them. A sacred aura swept across this world. The ancient demonic spirit dragon was lying on the mountain, dying. The four of them began to form the seal. Sacred energy flew out from the four of them, converged in midair, then scattered. At the same time, sacred energy extended from the four of them. The sacred energy snaked forward, forming a complicated rune formation. It gathered in front of them until it enveloped the ancient demonic spirit dragon. This ancient demonic spirit dragon's origin is extraordinary. We need to use pure divine power to suppress it. We can't give it any chance to revive, Yao Ming said in a deep voice. I have something here that contains divine power. I hope it will be useful. A small jar appeared in Yao Ming's hand. This is the blood of the divine race's Holy Spirit. I hope it will be useful. The small jar shattered in midair. The divine blood emitted a dazzling light and floated in the air. The dying ancient demonic spirit dragon was enraged when it saw the divine blood. It began to struggle. As the ancient demonic spirit dragon struggled, the formation they set up showed signs of collapsing. Following that, Yuling and Shinken also took out items that contained divine power. But they still couldn't suppress the ancient demonic spirit dragon. Furthermore, the divine power items that the three of them had taken out were rapidly melting away. Seeing this, the three of them could only look at Zichen. Zichen said, No one told me that I need to prepare this. But I do have something related to the divine race. I got it from the battlefield of gods and demons. I don't know if it will be useful. A jade tablet appeared in Zichen's hand. With the jade tablet in his hand, it shone with a dazzling divine light. The eyes of the three of them lit up. The divine light jade tablet flew into the air. As soon as it reached the formation, it exploded with a pop. A speck of divine light appeared. No one knew what this divine light was. But when it appeared, the divine power devoured the items Yao Ming and the others took out and became the only one. The divine light shrouded the formation with an extremely strong pressure. The trembling formation suddenly quieted down. At the same time, the struggling ancient demonic spirit dragon seemed to be greatly suppressed. Its struggle became weaker. The three of them looked at the divine light. It was bright and pure. Then, they looked at Zichen. Zichen sighed and said, I don't know what that is either. Looks like it's an extraordinary item. We've really suffered a loss this time. Since it has come to this, seal it. Chapter 3374. As the cage trapped the ancient demon spirit dragon, more boulders appeared around it and covered the cage. In the blink of an eye, the top of the mountain became a flat surface. The ancient demon spirit dragon was no longer visible. Just you wait, this saint demon won't let you go. The ancient demon spirit dragon's voice came from the mountain. Yao Ming glanced at the three of them and said, Continue! The four of them stood on the flat surface of the mountain, with the sealed ancient demon spirit dragon below them. For spirits demon sealing. Following Yao Ming's guidance, Zichen continued to form the hand seals. At the same time, another spirit formation appeared below their feet and gathered in front of them. On the original flat surface, there was now a high platform. The high platform was covered with all kinds of realistic patterns. The runes were glowing, blinding and blinding. Looking at the completed demon sealing spirit formation, Yao Ming shouted, "Suppress!" Zichen's hand seals changed again, then stopped at a certain point. The other three did the same. The light of energy began to tremble, the glowing runes on the platform slowly dimmed. At the same time, the bodies of Zichen's group were also slowly petrified, turning into statues that were taller than normal people. There were a total of 4 statues, guarding the north, south, east, and west respectively. After the statues were formed, the 4 of them turned into 4 streaks of light and appeared. Zichen, who was forming the hand seals for the first time, was looking at his own masterpiece. Yao Ming explained, "This isn't just a sealing spirit formation, it's also a sealing formation. After a few years, the ancient demon spirit dragon's power will be dispelled." His gaze swept across the mountains and the earth, looking at this messy and ruined world. He said shamefully, "Because of our arrival, this world suffered a calamity. Leaving it behind can be considered a blessing for this world." Zichen worriedly asked, "What if someone comes to destroy it?" Yao Ming replied, "After this, the 4 of us will completely seal this world. In the eyes of outsiders, this place will no longer exist. At that time, heaven and earth will be sealed, this place will become a dead planet with no powerful creatures capable of surviving." Just as Zichen and the others were about to seal this world, Lei Tianshi brought Shuewu with him, evading their senses and arriving in this world. Looking at the scene of destruction in this world, Lei Tianshi snorted, "Each and every one of you is vicious. Do you want to destroy and rebuild? Humph, it's not that easy." Then Lei Tianshi looked at the little fellow and said, "It's time for you to perform. Whether or not we succeed depends on whether or not you hold back. The road ahead is destined to be full of thorns and tigers and wolves. We must seize all possibilities." Shuewu snorted discontentedly. Lei Tianshi added, "Don't worry, after this matter is settled, I'll definitely take you to eat delicious food for 3 days and 3 nights. Shuewu said again. "That's great. We'll have a month's worth of delicacies to cross several saint domains." Shuewu nodded in satisfaction and pointed at Lei Tianshi's glabella. At this moment, Lei Tianshi sensed something and raised his head to look at the sky. "They're going to seal this place completely. Next, this sealed world will become a sealing array. If we continue to stay here, we'll be assimilated and disintegrated in time." Lei Tianshi's expression changed slightly. "They're only 2 stars. How can they have such means? Even I'm shocked. Could it be that there's someone else helping them?" Lei Tianshi retracted his aura and said carefully, "It must be someone from the sacred shadow sky. Little fellow, the 2 of us have to speed up. If we're discovered by the sacred shadow sky, it'll be bad." Lei Tianshi wouldn't forget how he was injured when he fought with the sacred shadow sky last time. The power of the sun, moon, star, and thunder formed a huge net in the sky and then extended until it covered the entire world. It was like an inverted bowl, leaving no blind spots. All the living beings of the Jinwu continent who had survived the calamity looked at this scene in shock. The net flickered several times and then disappeared. The seal was complete. Zichen could clearly feel the changes in this world. The divine power in his body began to fade, as if it was being taken away by the world and dissipating. If he continued to stay here, he would be disintegrated as a sacred spirit. Why was the seal set up by the 4 of them so powerful? Zichen was puzzled. Suddenly he thought of the special lightning jade that Yao Ming had given him when the seal had begun. At that time, the 3 of them also had different jade slips. Could it be those 4 different jade slips? "Let's go," Yao Ming said. "If we continue to stay here, we'll disappear." Yu Ling and Xingke nodded. Zichen naturally didn't have any objections. The 4 of them left this world. When they stood in the void again, The suppressive feeling disappeared. Zichen looked into the distance, where there were many huge planets. Yao Ming looked back at Zichen and said, Zichen, this matter is over. We should go back. If you have time to pass by the Sacred Glory tribe, you can find me. Zichen nodded and said goodbye to the three. Before leaving, Shinken said, I think you should go to the Sacred Shadow Sky for this matter. You've suffered a great loss. Zichen nodded and smiled. In truth, the last divine power Jade Slip wasn't something Zichen had obtained from the battlefield of gods and demons. It was given to him by Lei Tianshi before he left. Lei Tianshi already knew what Yao Ming and the others were doing. He didn't care what their goal was, and he also didn't want to know what Lei Tianshi was planning. In his perception, Shui Wu was still in the original world. But when Zichen turned back, he couldn't see that world anymore. Shui Wu could sense Zichen's presence. Zichen didn't plan to wait for Lei Tianshi and soared into the sky. Above the void, he slashed forward with one hand. The void was directly torn apart by him. He entered the torn void. It was like ascending. In the next moment, Zichen arrived at the Saint Spirit realm. The heaven and earth here was much more stable. Zichen, who didn't know where he was, moved in another direction. Now that he had returned the favor, he was going to the sacred lightning territory. But before that, he had to wait for Lei Tianshi to come back and see if he wanted to go or hear his opinion. Zichen saw a planet and was about to pass through it. Suddenly, a ripple appeared in front of him and spread out, forming a passage. Lei Tianshi came back so quickly? Zichen was stunned. Just at this moment, a cold chill suddenly crept into his heart. A long sword, like a beam of rainbow light, went straight for Zichen's glabella. As the killing intent approached, the surrounding temperature suddenly dropped. Zichen felt like he had lost control of his body. Buzz! Lightning flashed, dispelling the killing intent that enveloped him. Zichen disappeared. At the critical moment, he used lightning flash. Chapter 3375. A stranger was standing in front of him with a black cloth covering his face. He was holding a long sword in his hand. The sword radiated cold light and released a chilling aura. Zichen stared at him and asked in a low voice, Who are you? Suddenly his body shook. He felt his aura drop and became weak. Other than the fact that he had not recovered from his injuries from the previous battle, the other reason was that he had been poisoned. Would Zichen, who had become a sacred spirit, be afraid of poison? He glanced at his wound. The sacred blood had been dyed black. Swish! The opponent thrust his sword again. He was a sacred spirit, and was in the same realm as Zichen. There was poison on his weapon. As the sword fell, the weak Zichen felt a strong pressure coming from the space around him. He shouted loudly, and lightning filled his body as he punched forward. The demonic bone glowed and a strong aura surged. With a boom, Zichen quickly retreated. The sacred spirit's sword light dimmed and flew backward. Zichen activated the lightning physique to prevent the poison from entering his body. Swish! His figure disappeared. He had used Thunder Flash. Zichen didn't know the opponent and didn't know why he was chasing after him. However, the most important thing now was to kill him quickly. He had to find a place to heal. Appearing beside the opponent, Zichen punched. The opponent left an afterimage and disappeared. In the next moment, the opponent appeared behind Zichen. His speed was not slower than Thunder Flash. He slashed with his sword, full of killing intent. Swish! Zichen disappeared again. Swish! 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 Then, the two started to compete in speed. They were evenly matched. On one hand, the opponent's speed was not weak. On the other hand, Zichen had not recovered from his injuries. He activated the lightning physique continuously. The poison was suppressed but not completely removed. If this continued, the battle situation would naturally be extremely disadvantageous to Zichen. Swish! Lightning appeared and revolved around Zichen. It was the lightning blade manipulation. The opponent immediately retreated. Only his eyes were exposed. There was a trace of fear in them. The demonic blade appeared in Zichen's hand. He unsheathed it. Buzz! The blade light vibrated. An invisible pressure locked onto the opponent. The opponent's expression changed drastically. His body lit up, and he blocked with his sword. With a loud bang, that person was immediately sent flying. Zichen sheathed his saber and began to form a seal with both hands. Rays of light flowed from his fingertips. Lightning controlling technique. A beam of light appeared in the void and illuminated the void. A thunderbolt descended from the sky. Boom! Deafening thunder rumbled and fell on the body of the man in black who was flying backward. A strong wave of energy spread out from the void. The body of the black-robed man shuddered and fell into the depths of the void, successfully killing an enemy of the same level. But before Zichen could breathe a sigh of relief, danger approached again. He dodged without hesitation, but another sharp blade appeared behind him, and a bloody wound appeared on his back. There was now a second sacred spirit on the scene. Zichen's expression turned ugly because he realized that he couldn't return to his own world. There was an indescribable power isolating him from everything. He wasn't sure if this power was a result of the rules or if someone had deliberately set it up. "Who are you?" Zichen said in a deep voice. He knew that he didn't have any enemies in this world. Mengyu was one. But Mengshi must have been frightened by Lei Tianshi last time. It was impossible for him to send people to target him. Moreover, Mengyu was too far away from here. Even if they sent people, they wouldn't be able to find him here. Who else could it be? A few people flashed across Zichen's mind. Among them was the old man who brought him here, Yao Ming, and the other two. Only a few people knew about his whereabouts. But who were they? Why did they want to kill him? Zichen's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that after sealing that place, they wanted to kill him to silence him? Was it someone from Xingyin Sky? Or was it one of the three? Or perhaps the three of them were also ambushed? Just as Zichen had his suspicions, the other party had already attacked. The injured Zichen didn't dare to continue fighting. He immediately used a powerful method to kill his opponent, and quickly escaped. Along the way, he swallowed a large number of pills. Not long after Zichen disappeared, a light figure appeared. A divine aura spread in all directions. He captured the scene that had just happened. He even clearly reconstructed the battle that had happened. 2 beams of divine light flew out from his body and went straight into the void below. A moment later, the corpses of the 2 divine spirits were pulled up. At the divine spirit realm, one's physical body was already without impurities. After the crystallization, it would become a divine spirit crystal, which was greatly beneficial to one's cultivation. The third person, who was dressed in ordinary clothes, stared ahead with a cold smile. "You even abandoned such a thing. It seems your injuries aren't light. Very well, I'll catch up and kill you." A seal appeared in his hand, condensing a light spot. The light spot floated in the void and flew forward in the next moment. It was the direction Zichen had fled in. Zichen fled all the way, extremely depressed. He had lost contact with his own world. Under such circumstances, after losing his physical body, he didn't know if his soul would be destroyed along with it. As he moved forward, Zichen felt that something was wrong. How could there be such a coincidence? As he fled, he checked his body. He used his spiritual senses to check every part of his body, including his clothes and his own body. It hadn't been long since he returned to the divine spirit realm. Moreover, the divine spirit realm was so big, and he was flying in the void. If it wasn't for the precise location, who could find him so quickly? Zichen would never believe that this was an unexpected disaster. Therefore, he guessed that there must be something wrong with his body. As he carefully checked with his spiritual senses, Zichen didn't find anything unusual. But how did the other party find him? Suddenly, Zichen's expression changed. A token appeared in his hand. This was given to him by the old man, who said it was for communication. Could it be this thing? A ball of Holy Spirit light appeared in Zichen's hand. This light wrapped around the communication token, and then Zichen threw it forward with all his strength. In that direction, there was a planet. After throwing out the communication token, Zichen fled in the opposite direction. Arriving on a dilapidated planet, Zichen began to treat his wounds and detoxify, recovering from his injuries. The Holy Spirit who was pursuing the light came to a planet. This was an ordinary planet, and its owner was only at the Spirit Ascension realm. This was an open planet. The arrival of the Holy Spirit didn't attract any attention. The Holy Spirit kept following the light until he saw the communication token stuck between two stones. His expression changed. Obviously, the other party had discovered the problem. He released his spiritual senses and enveloped the planet. In that instant, all living beings on the planet began to tremble in fear. "I didn't know that you were coming. Please forgive me for not coming out to meet you." The owner of the planet cupped his fists at the void, terrified. The Holy Spirit didn't respond. He began to search everyone's memories. After a while, he didn't get any useful clues. He retracted his pressure and disappeared. Chapter 3376. The power of thunder coiled around his body. Countless arcs of electricity circled around him, giving off crackling sounds. Black blood continuously flowed out of Zichen's wounds. Slowly, the color of the blood changed, emitting a holy light. Zichen was already a saint spirit, and the blood in his body was the blood of a saint spirit. For some low-level cultivators, it was comparable to many precious medicines. After the poison in his body was completely removed, Zichen's injuries began to improve. His wounds no longer bled, and his originally weak aura also became stronger. The pursuers still hadn't arrived, and Zichen knew that his guess was correct. That old guy had tampered with the transmission token. Why did the people of the Holy Shadow Sky want to kill him? Keep it a secret? Zichen didn't think that the old man wanted to kill him, because there was no enmity between them. Was it because the old man took the talisman for himself? That was even more impossible, because Zichen had said that he didn't want anything in return. Moreover, the old man was in the Spirit Ascension realm, so it was impossible for him to mobilize a saint spirit to kill him, and there was more than one. Zichen's injuries were recovering, and his aura was also growing stronger. Although the effects of Spirit Ascension realm pills weren't very good, there were many of them, and his injuries were recovering quite well. Not long after, Zichen's aura became strong again. The lightning around his body gradually disappeared, and Zichen opened his eyes, which shone with a cold light. At this moment, he was at his peak, and his battle prowess had recovered to its peak. If they were to encounter the same enemy again, it would be impossible for them to harm Zichen in the slightest. A wind blew past, and dust filled the sky. In the Saint Spirit realm, this kind of ruined planet that had lost its spiritual power could be seen everywhere. Zichen's figure soared into the air and suddenly stopped in midair. Amidst the flying dust, a person appeared. It was a Saint Spirit. The Saint Spirit descended from the sky, looked at Zichen, and said indifferently, "You really escaped here." Zichen said in a low voice, "You really are from the Holy Shadow Sky." The corners of the Sacred Spirit's mouth curled up in a smile. "Even the Sacred Shadow Sky knows about it. It seems you aren't an ignorant brat." He did not wear a mask and spoke a lot. He was obviously different from the other two. Of course, this was Yuanyu's confidence in his own battle strength. "Why does the Holy Shadow Sky want to kill me?" Zichen asked. "When you die, I'll burn a piece of paper to tell you." The Saint Spirit approached. The aura on his body flowed, and a strong pressure came toward Yifutian. Feeling this enormous pressure, Zichen cried out involuntarily, "Three-star Holy Spirit! Your knowledge is not bad. I know that your battle prowess is not weak. You can fight against a 2-star. A 3-star is enough to destroy you." The 3 stars Holy Spirit said, "I thought those two could stall you for a while, but I didn't expect that they would die in your hands one after the other when they wanted to claim the credit." Shwa! Zichen's figure suddenly disappeared. In the next moment, he arrived beside the 3-star Holy Spirit and punched out. "Lei Shan of the Thunder Clan?" As expected, your reputation is well deserved. It's just a pity that your cultivation level is too low. The 3-star Holy Spirit turned around and punched out. Heaven and earth shook. The power of the 3-star Holy Spirit caused the entire planet to tremble. The demonic bone appeared on Zichen's fist. The power of this punch became stronger once again. Boom! With a loud boom, a powerful shockwave spread in all directions. The shockwave was like the edge of a blade. Everywhere it passed, the barren mountains were flattened. Zichen's figure retreated. When he was dozens of feet away, he disappeared again. The 3-star Holy Spirit was also pushed back by Zichen's punch. When he felt the power of the punch, he could not help but reveal a look of surprise. How could a mere 1-star Holy Spirit have such power? In the next moment, lightning flashed. Another powerful punch went straight for the 3-star Holy Spirit's back. Get lost! The 3-star Holy Spirit shouted. He turned around and punched out. A terrifying power surged on his fist. When the two fists met, the shockwave caused the two to retreat again. The 1-star Zichen displayed power that was not weaker than a 3-star Holy Spirit. Boom! Boom! The punches continued, and the rumbling sounds continued. This planet, which was already depleted of spiritual power, suffered a devastating impact. The entire world was collapsing with a rumbling sound. The two fought from the ground to the air, and from the air to the ground. The earth cracked and magma spewed out. It was a scene of destruction. Zichen kept punching. Every punch was full of power. The 7 demonic bones provided him with powerful combat power. The 7 demonic bones played an important role in fighting a 2-star Holy Spirit. Whoosh! The thunder blade appeared. It was like a bolt of lightning. It drew an arc and went straight for the 3-star Holy Spirit's temple. Clang! A rainbow light flew out in front of the 3-star Holy Spirit. It was obvious that the other party also had a weapon, and its quality was not low. When the two were attacking, the two weapons were also attacking each other. They were evenly matched. Zichen, who was in the middle of the battle, was gradually weakening. Die! When they collided again, the 3-star Holy Spirit seized the opportunity when Zichen was flying backward and could not stabilize his body. In an instant, the 3-star Holy Spirit appeared in front of him and slashed down with his blade. Zichen's eyes were cold. Facing this attack, he was very calm. The 3-star Holy Spirit noticed Zichen's gaze. His heart skipped a beat, and he felt uneasy. Whoosh! A bright light suddenly appeared in front of the 3-star Holy Spirit's eyes. Blood splattered. The 3-star Holy Spirit's arm was cut off and fell to the ground. The 3-star Holy Spirit retreated 100 feet away. There was a bloody wound in front of him. If he had not reacted in time, he would have been cut in two. The demonic blade returned to its scabbard. Zichen took a step forward. The power of thunder exploded, and he pulled out the blade again. A bright light lit up between heaven and earth. The 7 demonic blade, together with the 7 demonic bones, left a mark in the air and rushed forward. The 3-star Holy Spirit was shocked. He dodged to the side. A straight saber light flew towards the horizon. Outside this huge planet, a beam of light appeared. The beam of light broke through the planet and drew an arc before dispersing. The entire planet was penetrated by the blade. The world that was about to collapse completely collapsed. The fragments of the world fell toward the void. Zichen and the 3-star Holy Spirit were in the Saint Spirit realm. Zichen slashed again. With each slash, his energy was rapidly depleted. However, the power of each slash was enough to threaten the 3-star Holy Spirit. The other party was shocked. He did not expect this 1-star Holy Spirit to be so powerful. As he slashed, Zichen put some distance between him and the 3-star Holy Spirit. The next moment, he put away his blade and formed a seal. Lightning manipulation technique. This was his ultimate technique. It was extremely powerful. Even the ancient demonic dragon would be severely injured if it went against him. The void suddenly lit up, and a bolt of lightning fell from the sky. Boom! The 3-star Holy Spirit was hit by the lightning, and his body began to glow. Zichen moved his mind again. The lightning manipulation saber flew forward and pierced through the other party's forehead. Zichen's body swayed, and he almost fell. He was very weak now. Chapter 3377. Now that the 3-star Holy Spirit was dead, a ray of light flew out from Zichen's body and wrapped around his body, preventing him from falling into the depths of the void. He clearly knew the value of the other party. A ray of Holy Spirit energy landed on the other party. Light began to flow around the 3-star Holy Spirit, and in the next moment, his body slowly crystallized. Part of it dissolved and disappeared, while the other part turned into Holy Spirit crystals. In the end, a dazzling Holy Spirit crystal that was bigger than 2 human heads appeared in front of Zichen. So big? Seeing this scene, Zichen was very surprised. He was not someone who had not seen the world. When he killed Mingshi and Lei Tianshi, he obtained a 4-star Holy Spirit's crystal. Even after crystallizing, it was not this big. Now, what was going on? Then Zichen noticed that there was a ray of light beside the crystal. He flew forward and saw a bracelet in the light, shining brightly. Curiously, he took the bracelet and injected a ray of energy into it. Zichen's eyes suddenly widened. It was a space bracelet that contained all the savings of the 3-star Holy Spirit. The space bracelet could be opened directly with spiritual thoughts, and the spirit inside could not be seen. What did this mean? Dead? He's really dead? Zichen was stunned. What about his world? Only when one was truly dead could one easily open the bracelet. This was common knowledge. If not, with Zichen's 1-star strength, it would be difficult for him to forcefully open the bracelet of the 3-star Holy Spirit. Looking at the obviously huge Holy Spirit crystal again, Zichen finally understood the reason. This was definitely an unexpected surprise. After taking the crystal and the bracelet, Zichen quickly left. Although he did not suffer heavy injuries in the previous battle, he had consumed a lot of energy, and urgently needed to recover. Close to the holy shadow sky, there was a holy domain called Hugo. In the core of this holy domain, an old man stood in a plain building. The old man wore a silver robe with 5 flying dragons embroidered on it. The dragons were lifelike, and as the robe swayed, they seemed to break through the sky. The old man stood at the window and looked ahead. His eyes were deep and occasionally, cold lightning would flash through them. He seemed to be looking into the distance. Shwa! Suddenly another person appeared behind the old man. That person was also an old man wearing a black robe. Although there was no aura emanating from his body, he was naturally extraordinary to be able to silently break through this great formation and arrive here. The silver-robed old man didn't turn around, as if he didn't notice that someone was behind him. The black-robed old man said, "I'm very curious. To think that the master of the sacred thunder region would actually come to our Hugo sacred region." Master of the sacred thunder region. Just these 5 words were enough to intimidate the entire Saint Spirit world. The silver-robed old man snorted and said, "Is there anything in the Saint Spirit domain that the holy shadow sky is curious about?" The black-robed old man said, "The Lord of the Holy Thunder region has come in person. Something big must have happened. Let me guess." The black-robed old man lightly tapped his forehead. "Could it be that a fallen Saint Venerable has come back from the dead?" The silver-robed old man, who was known as the master of the sacred thunder region, turned around and said indifferently, "You really know about this? According to your characters, you should have already taken action, right?" The black-robed old man said, "It has been too long, and there is too little information from back then. So it was only a guess and could not be confirmed. Now that I see you here, my guess has been confirmed." This old man congratulates the Sacred Thunder region for welcoming back a future Saint Venerable. The silver-robed old man said, "In that case, those people were not arranged by you." The black-robed old man smiled faintly. "Of course it wasn't me. If it was me, I would have done it myself." The silver-robed old man was the master of the Sacred Thunder region, so his background was naturally great. However, the black-robed old man in front of him could use such an attitude to talk to him. Naturally, he also had a status. He came from the sacred shadow sky, and his status was comparable to the silver-robed old man's in the sacred thunder region. People of their status did not need to do anything at all. They only needed to think about it, and countless subordinates would turn that idea into reality. For example, the person he investigated was the same as a fallen saint venerable in the sacred thunder region. That was enough. Whether it was a coincidence or not, the other party would be obliterated. And the appearance of the sacred thunder region's master made this guess true. However, the black-robed old man also knew that since the other party had appeared, his people could no longer succeed. Zichen did not encounter any more pursuers. He smoothly walked into a sacred realm and quickly recovered his energy. After he recovered, he opened the storage bracelet of the dead 3-star Saint Spirit and began to check his unexpected gains. Zichen saw some crystals emitting Saint Force, but they were very small and the Saint Force was not pure. There were also 2 large Saint Crystals, which should have been formed by the dead Saint Spirit. The weapon that could fight against the stone saber was also among them. It released a powerful aura and was not an ordinary item. At this moment, Zichen saw the other party's communication token and picked it up. "Sir, we have arrived at the Yabu Sacred Realm. Is there any news?" Seeing the content of the message, Zichen's eyes flashed coldly. "Yabu's Sacred Realm? To call a 3-star Saint Spirit, sir, the other party's strength obviously did not exceed 3-star. Zichen stood up and took out a map and began to search for the Yabu Sacred Realm. The Yabu Sacred Realm was very large and contained many planets, but the largest was the core of the Yabu Sacred Realm. Zichen went there directly. After entering the Yabu Sacred Realm, Zichen released his spiritual thoughts and searched for the traces of those people. However, the core area of the Sacred Realm was too large. It was undoubtedly difficult for Zichen to find them smoothly. At this moment, there was an unattractive man in the Yabu Sacred Realm. Zichen immediately sensed the other party's presence, and could not help but show a touch of joy on his face. He, who was originally wandering aimlessly, went straight to a stand-alone building. When he came close, he directly slapped out. Boom! With a loud bang, the building was torn apart. 4 figures flew out, surging with Saint Spirit aura. 2 1-star and 2 2-star. Looking at the 4 people, Zichen's eyes were full of cold murderous intent. Whoosh! His body flashed, and he used Thunder Flash to appear in front of the 1-star Saint Spirit. Before the other party could react, he punched out. With a loud rumble, this 1-star Holy Spirit fell to the ground, dead on the spot. There was an uproar, and everyone frantically retreated. Their eyes were full of fear as they looked into the distance. Was a Saint Spirit killed? The Saint Spirit aura continued to wreak havoc. The people in the air were all Saint Spirits, but one of them just died. Everyone looked in front of them in disbelief. A powerful attack appeared, and the Saint Spirit power turned into weapons, wreaking havoc. The prosperous city was immediately turned into ruins. The battle between Saint Spirits was earth-shattering. Lei Tianxue looked at the battle in the distance, and a smile appeared on his face. In addition to happiness and relief, there were other complex emotions in this smile. He retreated and left the sacred realm. Chapter 3378. The Yabu's sacred realm was in an uproar. Everyone was rushing to the periphery. In the center, there were sacred spirits fighting. A 1-star sacred spirit was fighting 4 sacred spirits alone. One of them had already died. The impact of the battle was huge. Although the surrounding buildings were protected by arrays, they could not withstand the radiance of the sacred spirit. While Zichen was going all out to kill the 3 holy spirits, Lei Tianxue met someone outside. It was a middle-aged man who was full of vitality like Lei Tianxue. He was staring at Lei Tianxue. Lei Tianxue's expression became unnatural. Am I seeing things? Isn't this Lei Tian? You're not dead? The middle-aged man said with a smile. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. I almost died, but I'm alive now, Lei Tianxue said. I'm not Lei Tian anymore. I'm Lei Tianshi. I'm Lei Tianshi at the right time, the middle-aged man said. I think you deserve to die, Lei Tianshi said. I think you should change your name to Lei Di, not Lei Di. D and D are homonyms. Do you really think you can become Lei Di? You see, once you change your name, we'll be standing together. Isn't that auspicious? Lei Di's eyes became colder. Why? Lei Tianshi asked in confusion. Why what? Why did you betray the sacred spirit? Lei Di's voice became colder. Lei Tianshi shook his head and said, I've forgotten everything you said. There's something missing in my memory. Lei Di said coldly. You may have forgotten, but I haven't. If it weren't for your betrayal, how could the sacred spirit be killed? Lei Tianshi said. Lei Di, you've misunderstood me, haven't you? Didn't I bring him back? Is he still the sacred spirit? I think so. Lei Tianshi nodded. Lei Di took a deep breath and said, I wanted to let you live, but since you're so unrepentant, don't blame me for being rude. Lei Tianshi snorted. This is your original intention, isn't it? However, do you think I'm afraid of you? You couldn't beat me in the past. Now that you've changed your name to Lei Yi, you're still not my opponent. I am the heavens and you are the earth. You are destined to be suppressed by me. Really? Lei Di's eyes flashed with killing intent as a tyrannical aura was released from his body. Sensing this aura, Lei Tianshi's expression changed greatly. The aura of a sacred venerate, you actually crossed that step and became a sacred venerate. Die! 2 bolts of lightning shot out from Lei Di's eyes and landed on the horrified Lei Tianshi. Lei Tianshi's body glowed as he let out a shrill cry. The next moment, the 2 lightning bolts flew out from his body and disappeared into the void. 2 independent spaces appeared in the sky. In one of the spaces, there was a large hall. The hall emitted the light of thunder, and it was extremely bright. If Zichen was here, he would definitely recognize that this was Lei Tianshi's Lightning Divine Hall. As long as the Lightning Divine Hall was not destroyed, Lei Tianshi would not die. As a bolt of lightning entered the Lightning Divine Hall, the everlasting Great Hall actually exploded with a loud bang. The Lightning Divine Hall turned into countless fragments, and completely disappeared into the void. At the same time, in the other space, there was a complete and huge world. That was the world that Lei Tianshi had fused with. After the Lightning Divine Hall exploded, another bolt of lightning entered that world, causing it to explode with a loud bang. Lei Di, you really want to kill me? The instant he sensed the world and the Lightning Divine Hall exploding, Lei Tianshi shouted. A cold smile appeared at the corner of Lei Di's mouth. Traitor, you deserve to die! Boom! Lei Tianshi's body directly exploded and dissipated between heaven and earth. Zichen, who was still fighting in the sacred region, suddenly felt a pain in his heart, as if he had lost something important. He turned his head to look at the sky and released a huge amount of spiritual sense. However, he did not sense anything out of the ordinary. Did Lei Tianshi leave? Zichen thought to himself. Boom! As an attack approached, the absent-minded Zichen was hit and sent flying. As he was sent flying, he felt even more pain in his heart. This made him unable to understand what had happened. However, right now, the battle was the most important. A light flashed in Zichen's hand, and the demonic blade appeared. He took a deep breath and unsheathed the blade. Buzz! The dazzling saber light drew an arc as it flew forward. A 2-star sacred spirit's expression changed drastically. He immediately formed a seal with both hands, and a defensive light appeared in front of him. As the blade approached, the 2-star sacred spirit's defense immediately shattered. The blade swept past his body and flew into the distance, destroying a building. The light on the 2-star sacred spirit immediately disappeared, and his body was split into 2. When the other 2 saw this, their expressions changed drastically. They turned and ran. The pain in Zichen's heart became more and more intense. He said coldly, Do you think you can escape? He unsheathed his blade again. The blade swept forward and caught up with the 2-star sacred spirit. The blade swept past his body and then disappeared. The 2-star sacred spirit's body fell to the ground. As for the 1-star sacred spirit, he had reached the border of the world and was about to escape. Buzz! The void trembled. A bolt of lightning flew out and caught up with him at an extremely fast speed. With a poof, the stone blade penetrated his sea of consciousness. The powerful force of lightning began to destroy his life force. The last 1-star sacred spirit's body fell to the ground. Lady entered the sacred realm and happened to see this scene. This was the Thunder Blade manipulation from the Thunder Tribe's sacred Thunder Tree. The sacred Thunder Tree had this technique because of the Thunder manipulation technique. It was one of the few powerful techniques of the Thunder Tribe. Only one person had mastered it, and his technique was close to Tao. Unfortunately, that person was already dead. Just as Lady sensed something, a Holy Spirit's aura descended, bringing with it anger. "How dare you behave so atrociously in my sacred realm? You're courting death!" The aura of a 3-star sacred spirit descended from the sky. It was the owner of this sacred realm, Yabu, who had rushed back in time. He glanced at Zichen. An endless murderous intent surged from his body. Die! He mobilized the power of the world, and a powerful force surged. A sacred spirit's palm print descended from the sky and hit Zichen. With a bang, Zichen's body flew backward, and he coughed up blood in midair. He had killed a 3-star sacred spirit before, but this Yabu in front of him had the home field advantage. Moreover, his attack was filled with rage. It would be difficult for Zichen to resist. He took a step forward and attacked again. Yabu's palm fell. He mobilized the power of the world and easily destroyed the saberlight. The demonic blade was Zichen's strongest attack at the moment. It was obviously unable to suppress his opponent. Die! Yabu's attack was overwhelming and extremely terrifying. Zichen put away his saber and took a deep breath. The next moment, he began to form a seal. Lady's expression changed when he saw this scene. This was an ancient seal, and it represented the Thunder Tribe's strongest technique. Since ancient times, only one person had mastered it. That person used to be the Thunder Tribe's sacred venerate Zichen. He was the sacred venerate Zichen, the pride of the sacred spirit field. In private, some people called him Emperor Zichen, believing that he had a chance to reach the legendary realm. A ray of light appeared between heaven and earth. Then, there was a boom, and a bolt of lightning descended from the sky. In Lady's eyes, the thunder manipulation technique had reappeared. Chapter 3379. The driving lightning art descended upon the 3-star Holy Spirit Yabu. Everywhere it passed, Yabu's attacks were destroyed. The lightning fell. In everyone's eyes, there was only this lightning in the world. As expected, the lightning struck Yabu. Zichen's aura suddenly weakened, and his life force was quickly draining away. The driving lightning art was indeed terrifying, but it was also very dangerous. Every time he killed an enemy, he would first absorb his own life force. Every time he used it, Zichen was able to kill his enemies. Only when he faced the ancient demon spirit dragon did he manage to survive. When the lightning disappeared, Zichen was already extremely weak. Fortunately, he managed to survive. Fighting someone 2 levels above him was too dangerous. Fortunately, his opponent was dead. Next, Zichen began to collect his spoils. That heartache was still there. He didn't know what went wrong. Was it the world he couldn't perceive, or something else? Lei Tianshi had already left. He was probably waiting for him outside. Lady's emotions returned to normal, and he flew down. After collecting the last Holy Spirit's corpse, Zichen suddenly looked up and saw someone standing in front of him. He subconsciously retreated, fear in his eyes. The opponent's aura was suppressed, and not a single bit leaked out, but it still gave him a terrifying feeling. It was as if the person standing in front of him was a peerless monster. "Who are you?" Zichen asked cautiously. "I'm Lady," Lady said. Zichen's expression changed. "You're from the Thunder Clan?" The opponent nodded. Zichen still didn't let down his guard. Why would a powerful Thunder Clan expert suddenly appear here? Even as a one-star Holy Spirit, he felt danger. Just how strong was this guy? A 4-star Holy Spirit was definitely stronger than that. Perhaps he was on the same level as Lei Tianshi. Zichen's heart skipped a beat. Could Lei Tianshi's departure have something to do with this guy's appearance? Seeing Zichen's changing expression, Lady said, "Don't worry, I have no ill intentions. I'm taking you back to the Thunder Clan." "Why do you want to take me back? How do you know me?" Zichen asked again. "Because you are the first person to comprehend the lightning controlling technique in so many years." An old voice rang out, and an old man appeared out of thin air. The old man wore a silver robe with a few dragons embroidered on it, as if they were living creatures that were sealed on it. They were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws as they meandered in circles. A kind smile appeared on the old man's face as he said gently, "Don't be nervous. We have been looking for you ever since we found out that you were in the Meng territory. We never thought that you would be here. Did you come here specifically for me?" Zichen looked at the kind old man and asked. The old man nodded and said with a smile, "After learning of your existence, we immediately sent people to look for you because we were worried that someone would harm you. It seems that we are not too late. Why does someone want to kill me?" Zichen asked again. "Because the lightning controlling technique is one of the few powerful battle skills of the Thunder Clan. The other powers are wary of it, and will naturally harbor ill intentions. All right, if you have any questions, I'll tell you slowly on the way." The old man smiled and said, "Come with me now." Zichen nodded, then turned around to look at the ground below. Time and space seemed to have been frozen, and everyone was in a petrified state. Zichen's expression changed. What kind of technique was this? The old man seemed to have guessed Zichen's thoughts and said with a smile, "It's just a small trick. You will know it when you reach that level." Zichen nodded and followed the old man out of the Yabu sanctuary. Just as the three of them were about to leave, the frozen world returned to normal once again. Everyone was shocked because a 1-star sacred spirit had actually killed a 3-star sacred spirit. "Where is he? Has he left? When did he leave? Why didn't I see him? What realm are you at? How did you notice that Lord Sacred Spirit had left?" When the shocked crowd realized that Zichen had disappeared, they started to discuss among themselves. They did not see Lady or the old man who came later. After leaving the world, Zichen said, "Are we going to the Sacred Thunder territory now?" The old man smiled and said, "Not going, but returning. From now on, that will be your home." Zichen said, "I still have a friend who was here just now." Zichen released his spiritual sense but did not find Lei Tianshi. Lady's expression changed slightly, but Zichen did not notice it. The old man said, "You can bring your friend to the Sacred Thunder territory. It is big enough to accommodate everyone." Zichen shook his head and said, "He seems to have left." At that moment, Zichen's heart ached terribly, and he faintly understood why he felt that way. Lei Tianshi wasn't capable of sealing off space-time. On the way back, Zichen sensed that he could communicate with his own world, which made his heart churn. Obviously, the reason why he could not communicate with his world was not because it was too far away, but because someone used a great ability to seal his perception with the world. Was it purely because of him? What about Lei Tianshi? Since he had such a great ability, would he be unfavorable to Lei Tianshi? "Senior, what kind of place is the Sacred Thunder territory?" Zichen suppressed the doubts in his heart and asked directly. The old man smiled kindly and said, "It is our home, a huge place with many resources." Zichen said, "A friend of mine said that there are thunder trees in the Sacred Thunder territory, and we can comprehend techniques there." The old man nodded. "Yes, there are thunder trees in the Sacred Thunder territory. After we go back, I will arrange everything for you," Zichen said gratefully. "Thank you, senior." The old man shook his head. "You don't have to be so polite with me. My name is Leizhenka, you can call me by my name." This old man could stop time and space with just a wave of his hand. Even if Zichen had more guts, he would not dare to call him by his name. At this moment, if others heard the old man's words, they would be shocked. He was the person with the highest status in the sacred thunder territory. Who dared not call him ancestor? Who dared to talk to him as an equal? As for calling him by his name, in the entire sacred spirit territory, there were no more than 5 people who would do so. Zichen scratched his head and said, "That's not good, I will call you senior." During this time, Lei Di and Lei Zhenke were looking at Zichen, but they did not see the difference in Zichen's expression. He smiled and said, "As you wish." On the way back, Zichen said, "After returning to the sacred thunder territory, do I need to do anything?" Lei Di looked at Zichen in confusion. "Why do you say that?" Zichen said, "You promised to let me comprehend the thunder trees. Don't I need to do something in return?" Lei Di turned his head, feeling very uncomfortable. Lei Zhenke sighed. "Child, you have suffered all these years." After leaving the sacred shadow sky's territory, Lei Zhenke glanced in a certain direction. There stood the black-robed old man from the sacred shadow sky. Swish! The next moment, Lei Zhenke waved his sleeve and the 3 disappeared. Chapter 3380. Zichen didn't know how far the sacred shadow sky was from the sacred thunder region. In short, after Lei Zhenke waved his sleeve, a world of thunder appeared in front of Zichen. The surroundings were filled with the power of thunder. For others, coming here might be a pressure and threat, but for those who cultivated thunder methods, this was an opportunity. Every time Zichen took a breath, the power of thunder would enter his body and then temper it. Here, breathing smoothly was cultivation, which showed the foundation of this place. "This is home, son. Welcome home." Lei Zhenke sighed and then disappeared. "Everything from now on will be arranged by Lei Di." Zichen nodded and thanked him. Lei Di looked at Zichen with a complicated expression. Zichen smiled at Lei Di. Lei Di took a deep breath and said, "Let's go. When we get there, I'll ask someone to give you a token of the Thunder Clan." "Thank you," Zichen said. Lei Di turned around and looked at Zichen. "You don't have to thank me in front of me in the future." Zichen looked at Lei Di in confusion. Lei Di didn't know how to explain. Zichen said, "I have a friend called Lei Tianshi. He may be from the Thunder Clan. Do you know him?" Lei Di shook his head and said, "No." Zichen said regretfully, "That's too bad. His battle prowess is very strong, and he treats me very well. Originally, we discussed coming to the Sacred Thunder region together, but for some reason, he left alone." Lei Di said in a deep voice, "The road of cultivation is cruel. You can't judge a book by its cover, so you can't treat people too well. Besides, how do you know if others are sincere to you?" Zichen asked in confusion. "What do you mean?" Lei Di patted his chest and said, "Use this place to sense carefully. Don't make a conclusion immediately. After the baptism of time, who is good and who is bad will be judged." Zichen nodded blankly, still in a daze. "Let's go." Looking at Zichen, Lei Di felt a little distressed, but he didn't explain. As countless bolts of lightning surged, they entered the Sea of Lightning. Lei Di looked at the Sea of Lightning and proudly said, "The lightning here comes from all over the Saint Spirit realm and finally converges here. It is not only the cultivation ground of the Thunder Clan, but also a natural protective barrier. Once an enemy invades, they will first be struck by lightning." Zichen asked, "Are the invaders from the celestial and demon races?" Lei Di smiled and said, "Yes, they are our mortal enemies, but it has never been the god race or the demon race that has restricted the development of the spirit race." Zichen finally understood. The spirit race were also humans. They were naturally aggressive, and they fought amongst themselves. Passing through the Sea of Lightning, Zichen saw one giant planet after another. The surface of these planets was filled with lightning. There were so many that he couldn't see the end of them. Zichen was shocked. Lei Di explained, "These are the outer regions of the Sacred Thunder Territory. These planets are owned by the talented Thunder Clan members." "Talented?" Zichen keenly grasped these 3 words. Lei Di nodded and said, "That's right. The Thunder Clan members without talent are in other regions, not in this sacred Thunder territory. Unless they can reach the sacred spirit realm, they will never be able to set foot here. Lady grabbed Zichin and disappeared in the next moment. When they reappeared, the two appeared in the sea of lightning again. The lightning here was more violent and powerful. This is the sea of lightning that leads to the inner region. The quality is higher. The two of them quickly passed through this high-quality sea of lightning. What entered their eyes was another planet. These lightning planets were more dazzling and extremely dazzling. Lady pointed to several planets in front of them and said, "This is the inner region. There is no distinction of talent here. There is only one condition. One must be a sacred spirit of the Thunder Clan." Zichen's eyes were full of shock. So, there were thousands of sacred spirits in the Thunder Clan alone? This. Zichen was shocked and speechless. Lady revealed a smile and said, "The sacred spirits are the mainstay of the Saint Spirit world, and this place is the foundation of the Thunder Clan." Seeing all this, Zichen finally understood why the sacred Thunder territory was famous in the Saint Spirit world. This was the foundation. "Let's go. Your place is in the depths." Lady pulled Zichen and disappeared again, and then entered the third sea of lightning. The quality of the sea of lightning here was higher, and there were fluctuations of life in the surging lightning. The life forms that can be born in this sea of lightning are called Thunder Spirits. Lady said, "After passing through here, you will reach the core area. And to be able to reach this place, you must have extraordinary talent." After arriving here, the number of planets was obviously less, only a few hundred. Lady said, "If you have a cultivation world, you can put it here. As long as the sacred Thunder territory is not destroyed, your world is absolutely safe." Zichen said, "My world is a bit different. There are many humans living in it. I'm afraid it's not convenient to come here." "Many?" Lady looked at Zichen. Zichen nodded and said, "The number of people is comparable to the core planet of a bustling sacred realm. In the bustling sacred realm, there were many people gathered. The number was very large. If there were so many people in Zichen's world, it would be shocking." Lady said, "This will be very disadvantageous to your cultivation. If you put your world here, it can absorb the power of lightning here by itself. There will be many benefits." Zichen shook his head and said, "No need. The reason why I brought this world with me was because I wanted to have a place to worry about. I didn't expect to use it for cultivation. Moreover, there are many friends that I can't give up." Looking at Zichen's serious expression, Lady nodded and said, "The sacred Thunder territory also has some sacred realms that are open to the public. Your world can be placed there. I will choose a good place for you." Zichen didn't refuse because he wasn't familiar with this place. He also didn't thank him. He just nodded because Lady had solemnly said that there was no need to thank him. Next, Lady took Zichen and went straight to the core planet of the sacred realm. This was a world with obvious characteristics of the Thunder Clan. As far as the eye could see, there were all kinds of strange flowers and trees all over the world. There were also many colorful spiritual fruits that could be seen everywhere. Zichen just glanced at it, and his body fell into a city. The people of the Thunder Clan lived here. After seeing Lady, there was a look of surprise on their faces. They then saluted Lady one after another. Lady nodded indifferently and walked forward. Zichen followed behind Lady. It seemed that Lady's status in the Thunder Clan was not low. At the same time, after many people saluted Lady, they also looked at Zichen curiously. Chapter 3381. What's the background of this person? He's actually being led by a saint? I don't know. I've never seen him before. He's unfamiliar. Is he a genius brought back from the outside? Saint Lady rarely goes out. He almost never participates in the matters of the Lei clan. Why did he bring an outsider this time? That's right. Even Lei Lan, the saint sovereign, has never cared about him. And looking at the direction, it seems like he's going to the registration place? Whispers could be heard coming from behind. Zichen heard these discussions and knew that Lady's status was indeed very high. Because when the saint spirits mentioned Lady, their faces were filled with worship. Zichen curiously asked, "What's a saint sovereign?" Lady looked back at Zichen and said, "Spirit ascension, saint spirit, saint sovereign." Zichen suddenly opened his eyes wide and said in disbelief, "After saint spirit is saint sovereign? Then aren't you?" Looking at Zichen's shocked expression, Lady said, "That's right. I'm just a saint sovereign that's slightly stronger than a 9-star saint spirit." Zichen was shocked. He didn't expect Lady's background to be so great. The only thing he knew about saint sovereigns was what the old man in the shinging sky said when he taught him the lightning controlling technique. It was a technique created by the lightning seigneur. When the lightning seigneur killed someone, he could directly trace it back to the hidden world and completely destroy it. Lady was such a powerful existence? This powerful existence was leading the way for him? How was this possible? Then Milord is the master of this world? Zichen was shocked, and his tone of voice changed. "There's no need to be polite between us. Just call me Lady," Lady said. "I'm a saint sovereign, but I'm definitely not a ruler. There's no ruler in this world." Zichen understood Lady's meaning. If there was no ruler in this world, then saint sovereigns were the top existences. If the saint spirit world was compared to a pyramid, then spirit ascension realm was the lowest level. 1-star to 9-star saint spirits were the middle level. Those who stood at the top were saint sovereigns. Under the guidance of the lightning seigneur, the two entered a special building. This place exuded an ancient aura. When people saw Lady, they all bowed. Lady came to the room, looked at a beautiful woman and said, "Register his identity. Zichen, core disciple, take a core token." When the beautiful woman saw Lady come in, she stood up to show her respect. But after hearing Lady's words, her face revealed an awkward expression. She glanced at Zichen and said, "Sir, I'm afraid this is not in accordance with the rules. Our core disciple quota is limited, and we have to go through layers of tests." Lady reached out and interrupted him, saying, "I know the rules better than you. Just do as I say." The words of a saint venerable naturally carried a lot of weight. The beautiful woman in charge of the registration didn't dare to say anything else. She quickly lowered her head and handled the matter. At the same time, she asked, "Sir, do you want to take him as a disciple?" Usually, one would have to go through layers upon layers of selections, and after one passed, there would be a grade. Since the people brought by the Lord did not need to participate in the assessment, there had to be an explanation. Being the disciple of the Holy Venerate was enough. The identity token of the Holy Thunder region was equivalent to one's file, which could be checked at any time and anywhere. It was also a symbol of one's status. Lady shook his head and said, "No, just write that he has comprehended the thunder controlling technique, and I invited him to become a core disciple." When the beautiful woman heard this, her hands trembled. She carefully looked at Zichen. The Holy Venerate was the existence at the peak of this world. Their words carried a lot of weight. If one could become the disciple of a Holy Venerate, it would be the fate of several lifetimes. But the Holy Venerate in front of her used the word invite. In the Saint Spirit realm, what kind of person was worthy of being invited by a Holy Venerate? It was not a so-called genius disciple, because no one who could come to the Saint Spirit realm was mediocre. There were countless geniuses, and the Holy Venerate was the king of all geniuses. So, the person who could be invited by the Holy Venerate was not a genius, but a Holy Venerate. Only those of the same level could use the word invite. Now that Holy Venerate Lady used the word invite on Zichen, it showed how much he valued him. "May I know how to write your name, your realm, and a drop of your blood?" The beautiful woman immediately threw away the distracting thoughts in her heart and asked politely. Zichen walked forward and registered according to the requirements. Finally, he gave the other party a drop of his blood. The woman had been in charge of registering, and those who registered here were all the top geniuses in the Saint Lightning region. She had seen too much blood. At this moment, when Zichen's blood appeared, she could feel the strength of the energy contained in it. She knew that even if he did not pass the Holy Venerate Lady's test, he would still have a high chance of becoming a core disciple. Soon, a core token appeared in Zichen's hand. This was the token of the Saint Lightning region, indicating his identity as a member of the Lightning clan. In the future, this token would be very useful in the Saint Spirit realm. For example, the previous incident in the Meng region could be solved with this token. Seeing Zichen accept the token, Lady said, "Arrange for him to enter the Lightning Tree as soon as possible." The Saint Lightning region had existed for countless years, and many lightning trees had been cultivated. It was not a problem to arrange for a core disciple to enter the Lightning Tree. However, the woman knew very well that the lightning tree that the Holy Venerate was talking about was not the lightning tree that was cultivated. It was the only sacred lightning ancient tree in the Saint Lightning region. At the same time, it had another name, Sacred Lightning Ancient Ancestor. It was said that it was the oldest existence in the Saint Lightning region, even older than the current first ancestor of the Lightning clan. Seeing the two leave, the woman could not help but smile bitterly. There was a limit to the number of core disciples. Since Zichen had taken one, there would be one less place for the other. At the same time, the number of spots to enter the Sacred Lightning Ancient Tree was the same. After leaving the registration area, the Holy Venerate Lady said, "Let's go. I will arrange a place for you to stay." Zichen already knew the importance of Lady in the Lightning clan, and even in the entire Saint Spirit realm. At this moment, the expert who stood at the peak of the Saint Spirit realm personally took care of him and arranged his daily life. This made Zichen feel very uncomfortable, and he could not help but feel unnatural. He did not know why, but he felt that Lady was very good to him. He also felt a sense of closeness to this Holy Venerate that he had just met. Chapter 3382. Zichen listened silently, and did not interrupt. However, he was very surprised in his heart. Unexpectedly, even the rooms were divided into different levels. The Earth Room's spiritual energy is the weakest, while the Thunder Room's spiritual energy is the purest. Thunder Earth Saint explained again. Zichen said, "Thunder surpasses Saint?" Thunder Earth Saint nodded and said, "That's right. The person who created this place said that Saint is nothing. In his eyes, Thunder will always suppress Saint." Zichen blurted out, "That senior must be very powerful." Thunder Earth Saint said, "Not only is he powerful, he is also an extraordinary genius. The thunder controlling technique that you have mastered was created by him. Countless years have passed and no one from the Thunder clan has mastered the thunder controlling technique. You are the first person after the saint." Zichen opened his eyes wide. He did not expect that the thunder god who mastered the thunder controlling technique was one of the founders of this place. But unfortunately that powerhouse had already perished. "What is the name of that saint?" Zichen asked curiously. He wanted to remember the name of the other party. After all, he is the only successor of the other party. Thunder Earth Saint shook his head. "It has been too long. No one remembers his name anymore. Only some words about him have been passed down." Zichen replied with a no and felt very regretful. "Let's go. I will bring you to the Thunder Room." While walking forward, Thunder Earth Saint said, "Those core disciples who moved their worlds here will usually live in this city. After your room is settled, every 1,000 years a resource will be sent to you. That is the treatment of a core disciple." "I don't have to do anything?" Zichen asked. Thunder Earth Saint nodded. "You don't have to do anything. However, there will often be assessments. Therefore, as a core disciple, the pressure is actually not small. Of course, you don't have to worry. No one will assess you." Obviously, this is because of Thunder Earth Saint. The moment Zichen came here, he took too many benefits from the other party. "Master!" Suddenly, a clear voice came from behind. Zichen heard the voice and turned around. He saw a woman walking forward. She was wearing a light armor covered with fine scales. The scales were shining with silver light. The woman was tall and slender, and her hair was tied into a ponytail. She looked valiant and formidable as she walked over quickly. Her delicate and beautiful face was filled with joy. "Master, I finally see you." The woman walked up, looking very happy. Lei Dian nodded with an indifferent expression. The woman seemed to be used to senior ladies' attitude. She didn't mind it and turned to observe Zichen. Her big, beautiful eyes twinkled as if they could speak. "Hello, I'm Zichen." Zichen was a little embarrassed by the other party's unwavering gaze, so he took the initiative to speak. "Master, I just heard that you personally took care of a little fellow and arranged everything for him. I didn't believe it at first, but I didn't expect it to be true." When the woman spoke, she didn't look at Saint Venerable Lady. Instead, she was still looking at Zichen, as if she were looking at some rare treasure. Zichen was speechless. What did she mean by little guy? "I say, what's your background? Not only did Master make an exception to give you a place, but he also arranged everything for you personally. You should know that I'm his disciple, but I've never enjoyed such treatment. I relied on my true strength to get here." The woman deliberately emphasized the word, true strength. Saint Venerable Lady frowned and said, "Lei Lan, don't be rude." Then, Saint Venerable Lady said to Zichen, "Zichen, she's Lei Lan, my disciple. She's used to speaking without thinking. You don't have to pay attention to her." Lei Lan opened her mouth in shock. The person in front of her was her master, who always wore a long face as if someone owed him money. Moreover, her master's tone was obviously apologizing. "Why? Why?" Lei Lan's face immediately turned ugly. She pointed at Zichen and said, "Little fellow, tell me, how did you bewitch my master? How dare you?" Saint Venerable Lady's face turned cold. Feeling the sudden drop in temperature, Zichen hurriedly said, "It's okay." Saint Venerable Lady said, "Why aren't you apologizing to Zichen?" Lei Lan pouted, snorted, and muttered, "I can beat 30 of him. Why should I apologize? In this world where the strong prey on the weak, is there a reason to apologize to the weak?" Saint Venerable Lady was so angry that he almost laughed. Zichen was worried that he would lose his temper, so he said again, "Forget about apologizing. It's not a big deal. However, although you're a 3-star Holy Spirit, I don't believe that you can beat 30 of me." Lei Lan raised her fist. Thunder crackled on her fist as if she wanted to teach Zichen a lesson. But soon, she came to her senses. She withdrew her fist and snorted again. "Let's go." Saint Venerable Lady no longer paid attention to Lei Lan. He looked at Zichen and said in a very kind voice. Looking at the backs of the two people leaving, Lei Lan muttered in a low voice, "Master Lady, don't tell me you've become stupid from cultivating? He doesn't give me, his disciple, a good look every day, but he's so nice to Zichen? And judging from the direction, he's going to the Thunder Mansion. Is he going to arrange Zichen there?" Lei Lan stomped her foot in anger. "What? He's your disciple, but he doesn't even have such good treatment. How can he be so nice to this guy?" Suddenly, Lei Lan's face changed again. "He's indifferent to a peerless beauty like me in front of him, but he doesn't give me a good look. Could it be?" Lei Lan's eyes widened as if she had discovered a peerless secret. "If you talk nonsense again, I'll punish you by sending you to the Thunder Prison." Suddenly, a cold voice rang in Lei Lan's ears. Lei Lan's heart trembled. She immediately looked up at the sky and muttered, "Hey, did I fall asleep just now? And I even talked in my sleep?" A cold snort rang in her ears again. Lei Lan giggled, but she didn't leave. Instead, she quietly followed. She had already arrived at the Thunder Mansion, but she didn't see the two people stop. Instead, they kept going deeper. "What? Back then, he only gave me a heaven mansion. Now, not only did he give me a Thunder Mansion, but his number is even higher." Lei Lan's eyes were obviously filled with dissatisfaction. As she went deeper, her dissatisfaction became more intense. She pouted her mouth so hard that it could hang a wine bottle. Room 23. Lei Lan's eyes widened. She felt extremely incredulous. A mere 1-star Holy Spirit was actually assigned to Thunder number 23. And if there weren't people in room 22, she believed that he would definitely arrange Zeech into room 1. Why? Lei Lan, who was originally very angry, now had another guess. Could it be that Master has an ulterior motive? After all, letting a one-star saint spirit skip the assessment and directly become a core disciple had already made many people angry. So arranging him to this place was obviously not a bad thing. Chapter 3383. Lei Lan didn't follow him into Thunder number 23. Instead, she waited for Lei Di to come out. She immediately followed him and looked at him from head to toe. Looking at her eyes, Lei Di said indifferently, "You're already a 3-star Holy Spirit, yet you're still acting like a child. What are you planning?" Lei Lan said with grievance. "Master, what are you talking about? I'm not planning anything this time. Master, you're too vicious." Lei Lan was probably the only person in the Sacred Thunder region who dared to say that a Holy Spirit was vicious. Lei Di, who knew Lei Lan's character, said, "Just say it." Lei Lan said with a smile. "Zeech is just a 1-star Holy Spirit. Master, you didn't accept him as a disciple and directly made him a core disciple. That's not right. After all, the quota is limited. If he's added, then another place will have one less place." Lei Di said indifferently. "Can those people be called geniuses? It's not too much to remove all of them." Lei Lan said, "That's one of the reasons. Another reason is that you let Zeech go to the Thunder Tree Ancestor to comprehend. He's just a 1-star Holy Spirit. There's no problem for him to comprehend in front of other Thunder Trees. Third, you let him live in the Thunder Mansion. Master should know very well what kind of people live there. What right does a 1-star Holy Spirit have?" Lei Lan looked at Lei Di and said with certainty, "Forcing him to take something that doesn't belong to him, and that he can't pick up, will definitely bring a disaster to him. Therefore, I'm sure that Master is vicious and wants to kill him on purpose." Then Lei Lan said seriously, "Master, you're enemies with him, right? Or maybe you're enemies with his ancestor, and want to kill him on purpose?" Lei Lan looked as if she wanted to be praised for being smart. Lei Di stared at her angrily. "Then I'll let him give everything to you, okay?" Lei Lan immediately clapped her hands happily. "Of course. Thank you, Master." Then Lei Lan's eyes lit up. "Master, did you have this idea long ago? You gave him these good things on purpose and gave them to me after he died. You're really wise. You're worthy of being my dearest master," Lei Di said angrily. "Why is giving it to him harming him but not to you?" Lei Lan said, "That's not the same. I'm a 3-star Holy Spirit, and I have my master behind me. Even if someone is dissatisfied, they have to fight with me openly. Let me ask you, under such circumstances, who am I, Lei Lan, afraid of?" Lei Di didn't say anything and just left. He really didn't have anything in common with this disciple. Lei Lan suddenly thought of a very important question and said, "That's impossible, right? Could it be that that fellow also has the same potential as me?" Lei Di's voice came from the front. "In terms of potential, it's hard to say whether it's good or bad, but in terms of battle, no one can compare to him." Lei Di disappeared, leaving Lei Lan alone in a daze. She had Lei Di as her backer, so of course she could bear all the opportunities. Even if someone was dissatisfied, they wouldn't dare to frame her behind her back. It was the same for Zeech. Everyone knew that Lei Di had arranged everything for him personally. Even if he was not his disciple, he had this backing and did not need to care about all kinds of oppression. The only thing he had to care about was a fair and square confrontation. Could it be that Lei Di had the same confidence in Zeech? In fact, it was not that Lei Di had full confidence in Zeech, but Lei Di did not think that there would be anyone who would be a threat to Zeech. It was just that times had changed, and no one knew the power of the thunder controlling technique. Otherwise, why was there only one person among the countless geniuses of the Thunder Clan who knew it? Zeech sat in Thunder Room 23. Everything came so suddenly. It was as if all the hardships he had experienced in the past were all for today's training. Suddenly, one day, all of his sufferings turned into opportunities. The Lord personally came to invite him, gave him a good identity, and gave him all kinds of good resources. Everything was at his fingertips. It was simply the peak of life. The spiritual power in this room was very rich, and it was all the power of thunder. As he breathed, his power was increasing. Even if he didn't have other opportunities, he could keep on breaking through in this room. Moreover, Lady said that he could stay in this room for as long as he wanted. Lady also told him to go to the thunder tree to comprehend. Once it was arranged, someone would inform him. Lady also told him that if Zichen didn't have a suitable weapon, he could go to the armory to pick one. All the good things came so suddenly. However, Zichen was not happy at all. He was thinking about Lei Tianshi. Lei Tianshi knew the Thunder Clan's techniques, so he must be from the Thunder Clan. However, he never told him about the sacred Thunder region. He just disappeared like that. Zichen only felt that he had disappeared. He couldn't think too much about it. He didn't dare to think about it. Was everything in front of him real? He thought about the conversation he had with Lei Tianshi. At that time, Lei Tianshi asked him, "Who told you to go to the sacred Thunder region?" At that time, Lei Tianshi told him to seal the demon clan first and talk about it later. However, after that, he only heard Lei Tianshi's voice, telling him where the 4 holy spirits were hiding. After the battle, Lei Tianshi disappeared. Shui Wu also disappeared together with Lei Tianshi. Zichen could no longer sense its aura. Could it be that they were really dead? Last time, the power that suppressed him and made him unable to sense the world was not only targeting him, but also Lei Tianshi. Just as he was in a daze, a person suddenly appeared in front of him. It was Lei Lan, whom he had seen before. "Hey, are you in a daze? I thought you were so happy that you were going to tear down the roof. Do you feel that all this is a dream and not real? Do you have the guts to go from a bumpkin to a millionaire? Do you feel like a meat pie fell on your head and smashed into your head and made you bleed and see stars?" Lei Lan casually sat beside Zichen. She picked up the teapot and found that it was empty, so she put it down again. "This is my place," Zichen said. "Yes, the door wasn't locked, so I came in," Lei Lan said confidently. "Why, you don't welcome me? You know, I'm a 3-star Holy Spirit. And I'm Lady's disciple. If you're in danger, I can help you," Zichen said faintly. "This is the Sacred Thunder region, one of the safest places in the Saint Spirit world. Why would I be in danger?" Lei Lan stared at him with her big eyes as if she was looking at an idiot. "Although you were brought in by Master, you didn't come in the normal way. And you took someone else's place as soon as you arrived. Don't you think you're in danger?" Zichen said. "This was arranged by the Lord. If you have any objections, you can go to the Lord. Why are you looking for me?" Lei Lan seemed to have found a rare prey. "Wow, I didn't expect you to be a rascal. I really don't know why Lady values you so much. But do you expect him to stand up for you? Let me tell you, stop dreaming. I'm his closest disciple in this world. He has never stood up for me, so why would he stand up for a rascal like you? And he's famous for being lazy in the Sacred Thunder region. He never participates in anything of the Thunder Clan." Then Lei Lan said, "In the Sacred Thunder region, only I, the 3-star Holy Spirit Lei Lan, can help you." Zichen looked at Lei Lan and said, "How can you help me?" Lei Lan's eyes showed a touch of joy. She said, "Of course I can help you. But we're not familiar with each other. Why should I help you?" Zichen said lightly. "Well, what do you want?" Lei Lan looked at him with a "you're very smart" expression and said, "I want to live here." Looking at Zichen's changing expression, Lei Lan said, "It's very empty here. It's a waste for you to live here alone. But you can't have those dirty thoughts. Otherwise, I'll beat you up until you're traumatized for life. Remember, we're just cooperating." "Okay." Zichen nodded in agreement. Seeing Zichen so happy, Lei Lan was very surprised. "Are you sure?" Zichen nodded again. He didn't know anything about the Sacred Thunder region. It was impossible for him to ask Lady about everything. With such a person by his side to answer all kinds of questions, of course, there were many benefits. As for the spiritual power here, it was very rich. It didn't matter if there was one more person refining it. Seeing Zichen being so smart, Lei Lan stood up and patted him on the shoulder. She said, "Then it's settled. I'll protect you from now on." Chapter 3384. Lei Lan, who was about to brag about herself, was slightly stunned when she heard Zichen's words. She was in a cooperative relationship with Zichen, and her job was to protect Zichen. She had no obligation to explain the local customs of the Thunder clan to him. Zichen looked at Lei Lan and waited silently for her to continue. Lei Lan glared at Zichen. She wanted to defend her dignity and status as a powerhouse in this cooperation. Zichen raised his eyebrows slightly and curled his lips. "You don't even know this? Who says I don't know?" Lei Lan was the first to admit defeat after being provoked by Zichen. She said angrily, "That's the most ancient sacred tree of the Holy Thunder clan. It's even older than the current patriarch." Zichen said, "Tell me about its function." Lei Lan snorted unhappily and said, "It's very useful. It contains countless thunder techniques. As long as one's potential is high enough, one can comprehend any powerful thunder technique. Of course, if one's potential is poor, they will gain nothing." Zichen said, "That's it? Nothing else?" Lei Lan said unhappily. "Isn't that enough? To the Thunder clan, that's the sacred tree. It's said that there are many ancient techniques that have been passed down since ancient times that we haven't comprehended. Those techniques were born by the sacred tree. They're very powerful." Lei Lan's eyes lit up and said, "The Holy Thunder Tree also has a magical ability, which is to refine weapons. How do you refine weapons?" Zichen asked curiously. Lei Lan said angrily, "How would I know? It's said that only some special existences can trigger the magical ability of the Holy Thunder Tree. There's always a rumor that my master got his weapon from the Holy Thunder Tree." Zichen asked doubtfully, "Can it be used to refine weapons, or are there weapons inside? Go and ask the Holy Thunder Tree if it can answer you." Looking at the disdainful smile on Zichen's face, Lei Lan said unhappily, "Let alone me, even if you ask Lei Di, he can't give an accurate answer. The Holy Thunder Tree is the biggest secret of the Thunder clan. It's also said that it's the root of our existence. Its mysteriousness is ranked among the top in the 3 realms. Isn't the Lord your teacher? Why did you call him by his name?" "I'm happy. Why do you care?" Lei Lan looked down at Zichen with a smug expression. "Tell me about the opportunities here. What can you get?" Zichen asked again. Lei Lan was dissatisfied. "Zichen, you've gone too far. I'm here to protect you. I'm your master. You should be grateful to me, not this kind of attitude. I am an adult, not a servant." Zichen spread his hands and said, "Forget it. The cooperation is cancelled. You can go now." "You're shameless." Lei Lan was furious. She continued, "There are all kinds of opportunities here. Let's see if you are qualified." "What qualifications do you need?" Zichen asked again. Lei Lan said, "Enter the Holy Spirit battlefield. Enter the Thunder prison. To the Sea of Lightning. In short, there are many places. As long as you can get points, you are qualified." "Points? What's that?" "It's the Thunder clan's currency. You can get points by completing missions or making contributions. Points can be exchanged for anything here, including comprehending the Thunder Tree and exchanging for a core disciple position." With the threat from before, Lei Lan spilled everything she knew without holding back. "Tell me about the Holy Spirit battlefield. What is that?" "It's the same as the God and Demon battlefield of the Spirit Ascension realm. After entering, you can fight with the God and Demon clans to get opportunities and points." Zichen's expression changed when he heard this. "Anytime, anywhere?" Lei Lan looked at him as if he had never seen the world. "What's so strange about that? This is the Holy Thunder region. We are the Thunder clan. What about the Thunder prison? What is that place?" "Prison?" Speaking of that place, Lei Lan's expression changed. The place where the heinous criminals stay. It's very dangerous, but as long as you can come out alive, you will be very rich. Seeing that Zichen was about to ask something, Lei Lan immediately stretched. Aya, I'm tired. What do you want to know? Wait until tomorrow. This place was big enough. There were 3 rooms. Lei Lan chose one and went in to rest. Zichen sat there alone, thinking. He had just arrived at the Thunder Clan, so he couldn't go back to his own world. Because once he went back, he couldn't come back. Fortunately, he could send his consciousness to the Zichen Hall. In the Zichen Palace Hall, brilliance flickered. The power of the rules circulated and transformed into Zichen. He stepped out, left the Zichen Hall, and came to the Tianwu continent. The bottom was lush, and ancient trees had covered every place. The place where Jono was also the core of the Tianwu continent. Zichen's friends were all here. With a flash, Zichen broke through the restriction and came to the tree hall. The others were in seclusion. Only Su Mingyao received the message and came to the tree hall. You haven't finished your mission? At first sight of Zichen, Su Mingyao found that this was not his real body. It's done. I'm now in the sacred thunder region. Zichen, the manifestation of the precepts, said. I called you here because I want you to make a deduction. Su Mingyao asked. What's the deduction? Zichen said. Lei Tianchu's life and death. Su Mingyao knew that Lei Tianchu had come to this world and knew how powerful he was. Zichen suddenly wanted her to deduce Lei Tianchu's life and death. This made her expression change. What happened? Zichen said. I suspect that Lei Tianchu has been killed. Su Mingyao didn't ask for the reason and started to deduce. A hazy light circulated around her body, concealing her aura. It was very mysterious. Zichen stood at the side and removed all the rules, trying to not interfere with Su Mingyao. A moment later, the light that covered Su Mingyao's body became unstable and eventually dispersed. Pooh! When the light disappeared, Su Mingyao coughed out a mouthful of blood. How is it? Zichen asked nervously. Su Mingyao wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and said, I can't deduce Lei Tianchu, nor can I deduce Lightning Divine Hall, but what? Zichen was very nervous. But that world has shattered. Su Mingyao's face was pale. She had once lived in that world, and this martial heaven continent was also separated from that world. She had a secret art that could deduce it. But she saw the scene of the world's destruction. Zichen was very clear on what the destruction of the world meant. Lei Tianchu had really died. No wonder Shui Wu's aura had also disappeared. He had a bloodline connection with the main body. If he was still alive, the main body would have sensed it. Rule Zichen nodded. His expression was very ugly. What happened? Asked Su Mingyao. When the main body returns, I'll naturally tell you. Now you should seize the time to cultivate and try to break through. After saying that, Zichen's body disappeared. At the same time, Zichen, who was in Thunder Room 23, opened his eyes with a gloomy expression. What's going on? Why are they so good to me after killing Lei Tianchu? Zichen was very puzzled. Zichen could sense that Lei Di was good to him. And he didn't know why, but when he saw Lei Di, he felt very close. Chapter 3385. She closed the door when she came in. Apparently, she had already planned to stay in the room. Zichen went to open the door. He recognized the woman in front of him. She was the one who gave him the core token. Zichen, my name is Liz. Congratulations on becoming a core disciple. The beautiful woman named Liz smiled at Zichen. Thank you? Zichen thanked her, but there was doubt in his eyes. Why was she called Liz? Were the people of the Thunder Clan not surnamed Lei? These are the resources you will get after becoming a core disciple. The next share will be in 1,000 years. Liz took out something that looked like a Qianquan pouch and handed it to Zichen. She said, There is also a quota token inside. It can only be used once. The Lord gave it to you. You can go to the weapon pavilion and pick a weapon that suits you. Okay, thank you. Zichen nodded. Liz smiled at him and left. Is there really something special about him that made the Lord spend so much effort on him? Liz had doubts in her heart as she left. That was why she wanted to see him personally. As for what the Lord said about Zichen being the first person to master the lightning manipulation technique, Liz did not really care. The Lightning Clan had a rumor regarding the lightning controlling technique. It was said to be miraculous, but no one had ever comprehended it. However, some geniuses could master the lightning manipulation technique. It was said that the Holy Thunder Tree evolved it from the lightning manipulation technique. Zichen closed the door, and just as he turned around, he saw Lei Lan standing behind him and staring at him. Hey, aren't you asleep? Zichen was shocked. You're not sleepwalking, are you? Sleepwalking my ass! Lei Lan fiercely knocked on Zichen's head and said, Why did that woman come to find you? Zichen said, She gave me resources. As a core disciple, shouldn't I have resources? Lei Lan shook her head and said, It's not wrong to give you resources, but she shouldn't be the one to do it. Do you know who she is? Zichen nodded. Yes, Liz. She was the one who helped me register. Lei Lan continued. Then do you think a person who is in charge of registering core members will personally deliver the resources? You don't have enough people, right? Zichen asked. Not enough manpower? What is this place? This was the core city of the Thunder Clan. Who knows how many people outside are racking their brains to come here? If they didn't have enough manpower, those families would have already sent people in. Lei Lan pointed at her feet and said, Just standing here for a while is an opportunity for many people. Zichen believed in this. The power of thunder in this city was very strong, which was beneficial for cultivation. Suddenly, Zichen realized something. Wait, you mean the family? Isn't this the Thunder Clan? Why is there a clan here? Lei Lan said. The Thunder Clan is just a unified name, and there is indeed the surname Lei. However, in the Sacred Thunder region, it is impossible for everyone to have the surname Lei. The old ancestor is not so overbearing. After many experts came here, they kept their surname and then started a family here. Lei Lan pointed at Zichen and said, For example, you are called Zichen. When you become an expert and can start a family, your descendants and descendants will all have the surname Z. This is a family. Zichen suddenly understood. Liz's real surname is Jiare. In the Sacred Thunder region, the surname Jiare can be ranked in the top 10. This analogy made Zichen more clear about the complexity of the Thunder Clan. Looking at the changing expression of Zichen, Lei Lan patted his shoulder and said earnestly, Now you should know the meaning of me protecting you, right? Today, Jiare Lei came here not only to deliver resources, but also to gather information. What information? Lei Lan thought for a moment and said, For example, where you live, or to observe you from a close distance, and then to sell information about you to other competitors, or to those who have their quota snatched by you. The word snatched is not appropriate, is it? Zichen said. I didn't do anything. But Lei Lan did. I've thought about it carefully. He must have an ulterior motive to harm you. While saying this, Lei Lan secretly looked at the door. Fortunately, the door was closed. He gave you a lot of things that you can't afford just to attract attention and become the target of public criticism. So I've always suspected that your ancestor had an irreconcilable enmity with him. Unfortunately, he became a saint venerable and couldn't take revenge, so he thought of this compromise. Looking at Lei Lan's serious tone, Zichen's expression was very strange. In this world, there was actually someone who talked about his master like this. He asked, Then how should I resolve it? Lei Lan said awkwardly, This is an extremely difficult choice. On one hand, there are various resources, and on the other hand, there are various dangers. It depends on whether you can let go of them. For example, this thunder room is very unsuitable for you. Zichen said discontentedly, Lei Lan, this is too much. I just agreed to live with you, and you want to drive me away? Lei Lan was stunned and said angrily, What nonsense are you talking about? Who's living with you? Zichen said, We live in the same room. If this isn't living together, then what is? What a scoundrel! Leilon gritted her teeth and said, I really can't figure out why Lady is so good to a scoundrel like you. Zichen smiled and said, What you can't figure out is yet to come. Do you see what this is? Zichen had an additional token in his hand. When he took it out, there was a faint clanging sound coming from it. Leilan's eyes lit up. This is the identity token to enter the weapon pavilion. How did you get it? Zichen said. Master Lady gave it to me. Damn it, he's really good to you. This is equivalent to you being able to enter the weapon pavilion and take any weapon. Leilan was furious and very discontented. Her eyes stared at the token in Zichen's hand and kept turning it. The next moment she said, Zichen, I'm lacking a handy weapon recently. If danger comes, I might not be able to protect you. How about this, you give this quota to me. After I find a suitable weapon, I'll protect you. How about it? Zichen's response was to put away the token. He had originally wanted to anger Leilan, who was spouting nonsense and trying to scare him. Zichen, how about this? As long as you give me the quota token, I'll agree to any request you make. Leilan said again. Really? Zichen looked Leilan up and down. Looking at her curvy figure, his eyes lit up. Of course. Leilan deliberately twisted her waist to make herself more attractive. However, it was obvious that she did not do this often. It looked very funny, but it also had a different kind of beauty. As long as you're willing, you can even give me your body. She lowered her voice and said softly. Her voice was very soft, but in fact she had made up her mind to beat Zichen up as long as he took the token. After all, she was a 3-star holy spirit. Zichen smiled and said, Leilan, you're very similar to a friend of mine. Leilan said, Really? She's the one you love the most, right? Chapter 3386. Leilan's expression instantly froze. Monk? Bald thief? Like a thief? She was as beautiful as a flower, loved by everyone who saw her. Her pursuers lined up for a few streets. Zichen was blind. Not only did he not know how to appreciate her, he actually said she was like a thief. Furthermore, he even compared her to a monk. Leilan was about to explode in anger. Lightning surged on her body and smoke rose from her head. Feeling the strong energy fluctuations from Leilan's body, Zichen had a bad feeling. He immediately said, You can't fight here, right? I say you have to be careful. If something happens, I can't protect you. Ayaya. This lady is so angry. I need you to protect me? Zichen, I will kill you. For a moment, the room was in chaos. The sound of objects falling to the ground could be heard. Luckily, Leilan knew her limits. She did not really do anything to Zichen. However, after this incident, she was even more certain that Zichen was a scoundrel. Looking at the messy floors, Zichen said, I am going to break through. Clean up the room. Leilan, who had just suppressed her anger, immediately screamed, Zichen, I am your lord. What do you think I am? A servant? Lord. Zichen laughed. Lord, please clean up the floor. After that, Zichen entered the room. Leilan was so angry that she stomped her feet. After Leilan's disturbance, Zichen's mood eased a little. However, he still could not accept the fact that Lei Tianshi had died. When he was on the Life Star, Lei Tianshi was already in a miserable state. He had finally revived and become stronger. How could he die again? However, if he did not die, why could he not even sense Shui Wu's aura? One must know that Shui Wu had a soul connection with him. It was just like the Sky Martial Continent and Zichen's world. As long as the other parties still existed, no matter how far they were, he could sense them. Throwing away the distracting thoughts, Zichen decided to first refine the resources to break through. He opened the bag and saw that there were 10 spar stones inside. The crystal was emitting a dazzling light of thunder. The 10 crystals floated in front of Zichen. Zichen could clearly feel the pure power contained within them. There are actually 10 holy thunder crystals. How biased! Suddenly, Lei Lan's voice came from the door. Zichen immediately put away the crystal and said with dissatisfaction, "Hey, that's too much. This is my room." Lei Lan said, "Why didn't you close the door?" Zichen said, "I don't have the habit of closing the door, and I have the habit of practicing naked." Lei Lan was puzzled. "What naked cultivation?" Zichen said. It's cultivating naked." Lei Lan's cheeks immediately turned red. She glared at Zichen. "Scoundrel, you really are a stinking scoundrel!" With that, Lei Lan closed the door and left. "That's a holy lightning crystal of the holy lightning level. After refining it, it can increase the power of lightning. Speaking of which, at your level, you should only get 5 of them. That guy Lei Di is really biased." Lei Lan's angry voice came from outside. "You're not his elder, why is he so nice to you?" Zichen was amused. Lei Lan didn't use any vulgarities when she scolded people. She definitely wanted to say something like "you're not his father," but she was worried that the Lord would hear it. After adjusting his mood, Zichen took out a holy thunder crystal and started refining it. Strands of lightning energy entered his body. This was pure energy. There was almost no need to refine it before it could be absorbed by his body. Moreover, this power was even purer than the holy crystals obtained from killing the holy spirits. Of course, it was mainly because Zichen was Lei Wu, a member of the Lei clan. After cleaning up the messy living room, Lei Lan looked at Zichen's door and muttered, "What a lucky guy, but he's a little too shameless. But at least you're smart. You know to improve your strength first, and didn't walk around recklessly." Lei Lan snorted. "Otherwise, you'll remember this lesson for life." After that, Lei Lan went back to her room to cultivate. This thunder room was definitely extraordinary. Even for the current her, it was still extremely useful. Even if she didn't use any resources and just cultivated here for 1,000 years, she was confident that she could break through to 4-star. Hu Wei stared at Liz in front of him and said unhappily, "What did you say?" "My slot is gone," Liz said helplessly. "I've already repeated it twice." "Your slot is gone. Why?" "I worked so hard to participate in the test and finally passed countless tests. I went through so many life and death situations to get a slot. Why is it gone just like that?" Hu Wei said unhappily. "I need an explanation." Liz said, "I can't give you an explanation. You should go to the Lei Di Holy Master and ask for it. He took the slot and gave it to someone called Zichen. This is robbery. Are there any thunder techniques? Where are the rules of the Lei clan?" Hu Wei's face was full of anger, but he could only vent it on Liz. How would he dare to ask the Holy Master for an explanation? Let alone him, even the patriarch of the Hu clan didn't dare to go. The few people who had obtained a spot looked at Hu Wei with strange gazes. Robbery? The rules of the Lei clan? Going through countless tests and life and death situations? As members of big clans, which one of them didn't use connections to stand here? Without a certain connection, how could they be qualified to participate in the core disciple test? As for being a genius, this world didn't lack geniuses the least. The 10,000 spirit world had already screened those who weren't geniuses millions of times. Those who could come here were no mediocre people. Liz looked at the others and said, "You all have become core disciples. Go to the earth rooms and someone will arrange a place for you." These people's faces were full of joy. Even the lowest level earth class rooms were extremely useful to 2-star holy spirits like them. Only Hu Wei came in high spirits and returned in disappointment. Even if he was unwilling, he didn't dare to do it here. Even if his position in the Hu clan was very high and he could do whatever he wanted there, he couldn't do it here. This wasn't just a place for geniuses, it was also a place where the power of the sacred thunder region gathered. Those who could stay here for a long time, which one of them didn't have a complicated power behind them? Take Liz for example. She came from the Jella clan and had a very high position in the clan, but she was willing to come here to work. Hu Wei left tactfully. He needed to find the clan to reason things out. At this time, only by using the clan's connections could he get justice. Moreover, even if one of the slots was removed, It would be when the clan's power was competing, and not just randomly pick him. Hu Wei returned to the clan and told the clan about this matter, which immediately caused the clan to be furious. This is too much. This is too much. Are they trying to bully my Hu clan? The 8-star holy spirit of the Hu clan, Hu Lushan, had a face full of anger. Who dares to snatch my Hu clan's slot? Hu Lushan asked. It's the Saint Venerable, Lady Holy Venerable, Hu Wei said. Hu Lushan's face was full of shock. He didn't know whether to be angry or not. His expression immediately became interesting. How could this be? Didn't the Saint Venerable not interfere in the clan's matters? Chapter 3387. Hu Lushan personally brought Hu Wei to the core city. Of course, he did not really dare to cause trouble here. He just wanted to reason with someone. One of the slots was taken by the sacred venerate. No one dared to object. But why was it Hu Wei from their family? Even if Hu Wei's score was lower, it did not prove that Hu Wei's talent was worse than others. It was just that he did not perform well during the battle. In fact, in the Saint Spirit sector, the competition was no longer about talent, but about family power. During the assessment, there were many 1-star holy spirits, but why was it that the family disciples always got the last slot? Was it because of strength? It was the power that was at fault. The family was the one behind the scenes, operating everything. Once the participants succeeded in getting the slot, they would be given resources by the Thunder Clan. Even an idiot would become a genius. Without resources, what was the point of being a genius? They would still be stuck in the same place. This was the same. Why was it Hu Wei? It was related to the assessment score, but it was closely related to the family's strength. Hu Lushan came here to reason, but there was no reason. When the slots were decided, Liz and the people behind her had already carefully selected and seen the pros and cons. Hu Lushan came with anger and returned with monstrous anger. But it was not useless. For example, someone mentioned the sacred venerate lady's temperament, so this matter was not without a turning point. After returning to the family, Hu Lushan looked at Hu Wei and said, "It's up to you whether you can get the slot back or not." Hu Wei listened quietly. Hu Lushan continued, "I heard that the sacred venerate gave Zichen a lot of help this time, such as letting him stay in the Thunder Room. If you can defeat him and get everything he has, it will be your good fortune. This is both a trial and an opportunity." Hu Wei was shocked when he heard this. He didn't even dare to think about the Thunder Symbol's room. One had to know that those who had just gotten the slots were all in the Earth Room. After knowing that the opponent was only a 1-star holy spirit, Hu Wei was full of confidence and went to the core area again. Here, Hu Wei decided to challenge Zichen. Unfortunately, Zichen had been cultivating in seclusion and did not step out of his room. Hu Wei snorted coldly. "I don't believe that you won't come out." No matter how much courage he had, he wouldn't dare to cause trouble outside Zichen's room. If he disturbed the other neighbors, he would be in a very bad situation. He might even be directly evicted. In the room, Zichen was refining resources to increase his realm. After Lei Lan returned to her room, she didn't come out. Zichen was still unaware of what was happening outside. He was fully focused on refining the Holy Lightning Crystal. This was a famous resource of the Holy Thunder region. Only core disciples could obtain it for free. As for others, they had to exchange for it with contribution points. In the entire Sacred Thunder region, core disciples were the most respected people. Their status in the Thunder Clan was extremely high, and it was the same in the entire Saint Spirit world. For many people, it was very difficult to obtain these things. For many rogue cultivators, unless they were extremely lucky, it was very difficult for them to obtain it. The Thunder Territory's core spots were mostly occupied by those families with status in the Thunder Clan. Moreover, there was always competition between the clans. For example, Hu Wei this time. Other than squeezing out rogue cultivators, he also squeezed out many people from the clans. After all, there were many clans and the spots were limited. Only Zichen took a shortcut here. It could be said that he reached the heavens in a single bound. The impact of this matter was huge. Discussions about him were everywhere in the city. As the person involved, Zichen wasn't clear about this. He had already refined 2 holy lightning crystals and was in the process of refining the 3rd one. Saint Venerable Lady held a map in his hand and was currently checking the location on it. This map recorded the various regions of the Thunder Clan in detail. It even recorded some secret places. Once placed in the Saint Spirit world, it would be a priceless treasure. Even the secret of the Holy Thunder Clan would be exposed because of this. However, in this Saint Spirit world, it seemed like no one dared to have any ideas about the Saint Venerable. Saint Venerable Lady carefully checked the map in order to find a good location for Zichen's world. One had to admit that Saint Venerable Lady was very concerned about Zichen. Men! A moment later, Saint Venerable Lady kept the map. An old man stood outside. What can I do for you, Saint Venerable? The old man was the housekeeper of the Saint Venerable's residence. He had stayed here for many years. How is Zichen recently? Saint Venerable Lady asked. Young Master Zichen has been in seclusion. He has never left his room, the old housekeeper said. However, many people are paying attention to him outside. One of them is Hu Wei from the Hu clan. I heard that it's about the quota. Saint Venerable Lady heard this and sneered. It seems that he knows my character. He thinks that I won't interfere too much in this matter, the old housekeeper said. If that's the case, do you want to inform Hu Lushan? Lady said. No need. He can only grow faster with a sense of crisis. Hu Lushan won't dare to break the rules even if he has more guts. Yes. The old housekeeper nodded. After seeing that the Saint Venerable had no other orders, he left. In fact, the old housekeeper was also very confused. According to the Saint Venerable's character, he didn't even care about Lei Lan, his only disciple. Why was he so concerned about Zichen? When he found out that Zichen was staying in Thunder Room 23, he was even more shocked. Arrange for Zichen to go to the Eastern Thunder region immediately. He can choose a place to put his world there. A light appeared in Saint Venerable Lady's hand. The light turned into a thunder token and flew out of the room. The old housekeeper who had disappeared earlier appeared silently and left with the Saint Venerable's thunder token. After following the Saint Venerable for so many years, the housekeeper naturally understood the Saint Venerable's intention. Therefore, he didn't arrange this matter himself. Very quickly the mission was passed down layer by layer, and somehow, it reached Liz. Leave it to me. Liz volunteered and left with the Saint Venerable's thunder token. She went straight to Thunder Room 23. Liz, where are you going? Along the way, Liz saw Hu Wei. He immediately asked her. I'm going to find Zichen. Liz didn't hide it. I'm taking him to the Eastern Thunder region. Hu Wei's eyes flashed with eagerness. Now? Liz nodded and left without hesitation. Zichen, let's see how you can hide. It's time to return everything that belongs to me. A cold light flashed in Hu Wei's eyes. Every room was maintained by a formation. Outsiders couldn't open it. At the same time, there was a restriction. Once triggered, it would gently wake the person in the room. It was like a gentle breeze that wouldn't affect cultivation. Zichen opened his eyes when he heard the sound of the restriction being activated. When he opened the door, he was surprised to see Liz again. Zichen, I'm here to take you to the Eastern Thunder region. Chapter 3388. Eastern Lightning Region? Zichen was stunned when he heard this, and he asked curiously. Where is that? Liz said. It's a region under the Thunder Clan's jurisdiction. There are many planets and prosperous trading grounds inside. It's considered the outer region. Zichen suddenly understood. He had told the Thunder Clan's saint to place his world outside. Obviously, the other party had always kept it in mind. So he asked, Are we leaving now? Liz nodded. All right then. Zichen was about to leave with Liz. Wait, I'll go with you. At this time, Lei Lan walked out of the room. When Liz saw Lei Lan, she was a little surprised. Her gaze wandered between the two of them. I'm going to place my world. There's no point for you to follow, right? Zichen said. I have to protect your safety. What if some people with bad intentions suddenly attack you? Lei Lan said. A mere one-star Holy Spirit. You're strong outside, but not in the sacred Thunder region. Zichen didn't refuse Lei Lan. He wasn't familiar with this place at all. Having Lei Lan with him was good. Compared to Liz, Zichen trusted Lei Lan more. The three of them walked towards the teleportation circle. Zichen, you're finally out. After leaving the Thunder region, Zichen heard a cold voice. A person appeared in front of him. It was a young man. His face was filled with anger as he stared at Zichen with cold eyes. You're looking for me? Zichen looked at the unfamiliar person. Hu Wei, what do you want? Lei Lan glanced at Hu Wei with disdain. However, there was a hint of joy in her heart because someone had finally come to cause trouble for Zichen. It was time for her to make a move. Otherwise, Zichen wouldn't know her purpose. Lei Lan, this has nothing to do with you. Hu Wei angrily walked forward. He pointed at Zichen and said, I'm here to settle the score with him. I don't know you, Zichen said indifferently. But I know you. You robbed me of all my resources, everything, Hu Wei said angrily. I am here to duel with you. Without waiting for Zichen to speak, Lei Lan stepped forward and shielded Zichen behind her. I'll fight you. Liz stood there without saying a word, only curiously sizing up Zichen. Zichen's expression was very calm, without the slightest hint of nervousness or panic. Liz's gaze swept across her surroundings and saw a few figures. She thought to herself, these people aren't stupid. Zichen's matter was related to Holy Sage Lei Di, so Hu Wei didn't dare to act recklessly. He had deliberately called over so many people because he wanted everyone to witness that he had obtained everything that should have been his through fair and square methods. Zichen, fight me if you have the guts. What's the point of hiding behind a woman? Hu Wei, who was only a 2-star, naturally didn't dare to fight with Lei Lan. Hence, he intentionally mocked her. Zichen said indifferently. She is now my guardian. Guardian? Hu Wei sneered and said. I couldn't tell that you're really shameless, standing behind a woman? Aren't you ashamed? Fight me if you have the ability. Zichen wasn't enraged. Instead, he laughed. I'm shameless standing behind a woman, then what about you? You don't even have the courage to fight with a woman, and you want to fight me? I say, if you don't have the guts, then hurry up and leave. Don't make a spectacle of yourself here. Hu Wei was born in the Holy Thunder region. He was also a proud figure of the Hu family. He rarely suffered losses in his life. Normally, it was always him relying on his family's power to snatch other people's resources. When had he ever been robbed? The last time his quota was snatched away, it was considered his first big loss in his life. He was an existence that had always been protected by his family. How could he possibly be Zichen's opponent in a verbal confrontation? Zichen's journey was completely one step at a time. He had seen all kinds of people and things. How could he possibly be at a disadvantage in a verbal confrontation? Sure enough, Hu Wei flew into a rage. I'm going to kill you! However, he wasn't stupid either. He still didn't fall for it, and expressed that he wanted to fight with Lei Lan. Right then, Lei Lan said, I won't bully you. I'll suppress to 2-star realm and fight with you. Humph! Hu Wei snorted and said, I, Hu Wei, have never hit a woman. Lei Lan, get out of the way. Zichen, I'll suppress to 1-star realm and fight with you. I just can't take this lying down. If you lose, I don't need you to compensate me for everything that I've lost. I just need you to apologize to me. If I lose, I'll admit that I'm not as good as you. I don't deserve the quota, and I won't trouble you in the future. Zichen smiled and said, You're really lame at trying to provoke me. Speaking of which, I thought that the plebes in the Saint Spirit world might be different. I didn't expect them to be the same as the plebes in my world. Some of their methods are even more clumsy. Hu Wei sneered. You don't dare? If Zichen lost, even if it was just an apology, It would be a loss of face for the holy sage Lady. Zichen wasn't afraid of rumors, but he definitely couldn't let the holy sage Lady lose face in front of him. Moreover, this kind of provocation was indeed clumsy. Zichen smiled faintly and said, "Since you're looking for a beating, I'll fulfill your wish. However, you don't have to suppress your cultivation. I'm a 1-star martial artist, and I can deal with you, a 2-star martial artist." Lei Lan turned around and looked at Zichen with a strange look in her eyes. A ray of light lit up in Liz's eyes. "Shameless boasting! Humph, I'll suppress my 1-star martial artist to fight with you." Hu Wei snorted coldly. The 2-star martial artist's aura surged out from his body and became a 1-star martial artist. There was a hint of admiration in Lei Lan's eyes. Zichen had silently provoked Hu Wei, causing him to give up on his own initiative. Not only Lei Lan, but Liz and the other spectators also had the same thought. Hu Wei raised his head and looked at the sky. He said in a deep voice, "I challenge Zichen to protect me." Zichen was a little surprised. Who was he talking to? Buzz. There was a ripple in the sky. A ray of light shone down and enveloped the surroundings, forming a space of its own. At this moment, the 4 of them had already left the city and arrived at another battle space. Lei Lan looked at Zichen, who had a strange expression, and explained, "This is a special battle space. Fighting here won't cause any damage to other things. However, you have to be careful. This space won't disappear until there's a winner." After saying that, Lei Lan retreated and left the space. "Good luck, Zichen. I have faith in you." Liz smiled and left as well. If Zichen couldn't defeat Hu Wei in a battle of the same level, no one would say anything. Only Zichen and Hu Wei were left in the space. There was a faint light flowing around their bodies as they merged with the space. The others could easily retreat, but not the 2 of them. There was a resistance on their bodies. "Are you afraid?" Hu Wei said coldly. Zichen said, "I've never fought with anyone since I came to the Thunder Clan. I don't want to fight with anyone. I just want to live in harmony with everyone." "Humph, you want to beg for mercy? It's too late." Hu Wei's voice was cold. Zichen said, "I won't go so far as to beg for mercy. It's just that I've always wanted peace, but trouble still came. I can only hope that after I beat you up today, no more trouble will come to me. You're courting death." Hu Wei's eyes flashed coldly. The power of thunder erupted from his body. Like a bolt of lightning, he went straight for Zichen. Bang! He punched Zichen's head. Zichen's body immediately exploded. Hu Wei turned around and looked behind him. He saw Zichen standing there. "Thunder Flash?" he said in surprise. "You've just arrived at the Thunder Clan and haven't comprehended the Thunder Tree. How can you use Thunder Flash?" Zichen said. "As a show of respect, I'll give you another chance to attack." "Go to hell!" Hu Wei shouted angrily. His body flashed, and he also used Thunder Flash. He arrived beside Zichen. Lightning flashed, and he punched forward. Zichen disappeared. The 2 used Thunder Flash at the same time. Their speed was about the same. Chapter 3389. As the lightning flashed, the 2 figures kept flashing. Up until now, there had not been a real collision. The expressions of the surrounding spectators all changed. They felt extremely astonished. They knew a little about Zichen. He had not been to the Thunder Tree to comprehend it. How did he know the Thunder Clan's rapid thunder flash? Moreover, it seemed that his comprehension level was not weaker than Hu Wei's. Hu Wei was a 2-star sacred spirit. Even if he deliberately suppressed his strength by 1 star, his comprehension level was still 2-star. Why were they on par with each other? Just as they were confused, they heard Zichen's voice. "It seems that your Thunder Flash is only SOSO. Forget it. Let's end this quickly." The light flashed again and he stood up. Immediately after, Hu Wei arrived beside him and threw a punch at Zichen's face. Lightning surged and was extremely terrifying. Countless lightning snakes surrounded his body. Feeling the power of this punch, A smile appeared on Zichen's face. He clenched his fist and attacked. Lightning flashed again, but the power of the lightning was more condensed and terrifying. Boom! The two fists met and the lightning exploded. Hu Wei's body was directly submerged by the lightning. He was immediately sent flying. This was the first time the two had exchanged blows. The expressions of the spectators, who were still indifferent before, changed one by one. How is that possible? Is that thunder explosion? How does he know thunder explosion? Everyone was a sacred spirit, and they were all geniuses. They naturally had extraordinary vision. They recognized Zichen's thunder explosion at a glance. Just as they did not understand why Zichen knew thunder flash when he had not been to the thunder tree, they also did not understand why Zichen knew thunder explosion. Could it be Lei Di? Lei Lan, who was also puzzled, immediately guessed one person. If it was Lei Di who had taught him in advance, everything would make sense. However, Lei Lan knew Lei Di's character very well. He was very impatient when talking to others. How could he have the patience to teach skills? However, thinking of Lei Di's attitude towards Zichen, it seemed to be possible. Just as Lei Lan was guessing, Hu Wei, who was sent flying, shouted, "Holy thunder annihilation!" In the sky, space distorted as a powerful aura surged out. A terrifying palm imprint that emitted lightning descended from the sky. Zichen tapped his foot and soared into the air. The explosive thunder fist, which he had not used previously, was now unleashed with all his might. Boom! Zichen's fist landed, shattering the palm print and landing on the ground. When he landed, his body froze. Beside Hu Wei, Zichen reappeared and unleashed another thunder blast. Boom! Hu Wei, who had no time to react, was sent flying. After seeing this scene, the expressions of the people who were already suspicious began to change. Whoosh! Zichen disappeared again and approached with thunder flash. Then, the crowd saw Zichen use the combination of thunder flash and thunder explosion to send Hu Wei flying. How could this be? Many people cried out in surprise. Even if Hu Wei had suppressed his cultivation level, he shouldn't be so weak. He had participated in countless battles and was definitely one of the top geniuses of the Thunder Clan. Why would he be suppressed like this? What's being suppressed is not strength, but speed! Some of the high-level holy spirits who were watching the show said in deep voices. Their expressions became serious. What? Hearing this explanation, many people's expressions changed as they found it unbelievable. Hu Wei, who had suppressed his cultivation level, was actually suppressed by Zichen, a one-star holy spirit. In that case, in terms of comprehension of thunder flash, the two-star Hu Wei was no match for the one-star Zichen? Boom! The last thunder blast resounded, and blood splattered in the air. Hu Wei spat out blood and fell heavily to the ground. The crowd was in an uproar. Hu Wei was defeated just like that. Lei Di must have given him special treatment. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so strong. Lei Lan thought so in her heart, and she was very sure of it. No wonder the Sacred Master would take special care of him. His comprehension of thunder flash has already surpassed Hu Wei. Liz also had her own speculations in her heart. Zichen looked at the unwilling Hu Wei and said, "I wasn't trying to provoke you. Don't suppress your cultivation level. Just use your two-star strength. I think you'll be convinced of your defeat." Hu Wei stood up, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and said coldly, "That's what you said?" Zichen nodded and said, "Don't worry, I won't laugh at you. This way, I'll be able to fight to my heart's content. You're courting death." Hu Wei used his anger to stimulate his two-star strength. "See how I'll torture you." With that, he disappeared. In an instant, he was in front of Zichen and attacked Zichen. Zichen had already disappeared, and his afterimage was shattered. Hu Wei's expression didn't change, and his figure flickered again. The Thunder Flash of the Thunder Tribe had a great advantage in the battle between the Thunder Tribe disciples. Usually, when one had the advantage in speed, he could easily suppress his opponent, just like how Zichen suppressed Hu Wei. In terms of strength, Thunder Flash didn't have much of an advantage, but in terms of speed, Zichen was stronger. Just when everyone thought that the two-star Huey could firmly suppress Zichen, they strangely discovered that the two's speed was actually on par with each other. How was this possible? With a difference of one realm, how could this be the result? No one could understand. Fortunately, Zichen didn't have the absolute advantage from before, and couldn't gain the slightest advantage in speed. However, if the battle continued like this, Zichen's energy would be exhausted first, and then he would be defeated. But would it really be like this? Of course not. Zichen quickly punched, and another thunder flash. With a loud bang, the lightning exploded, and Zichen's body slid back. With a one-star gap, his thunder flash couldn't gain the upper hand. Huey stared at him and said coldly, "It's your turn now." Zichen smiled and said, "It's my turn to beat a drowning dog." Huey rushed forward and punched out, surrounded by countless lightning. This punch was definitely his peak punch. Zichen also clenched his fist, but this time, he used the power of the 7 demon bones. The demon bones glowed, and a powerful force came out of his body. The instant the two fists collided, a loud boom resounded in all directions. Powerful fluctuations spread out, and within the fluctuations, there was the sound of bones breaking, and Huey's scream. On Zichen's hand, the power of lightning gradually retracted, and the demon bones dimmed, and then disappeared into his palm. Huey fell to the ground and screamed. His arm was broken. Outside this space, everyone was shocked, and they were almost petrified. "How do you feel now?" Zichen looked at Huey with a smile. "I want you to die." Huey stood up, and a bolt of lightning flew out from between his eyebrows, like a sharp sword, and went straight for Zichen. Chapter 3390. The soul attack turned into a sharp sword and came straight at him. Zichen did not have the time to dodge, nor did he have the intention to. He allowed the attack to enter his mind. He felt a sharp pain in his mind as if he was being pricked by a needle. But that was all. Zichen did not slow down. He arrived in front of Huey in an instant and punched again. He used the power of the demonic bone again. This was the fundamental power that allowed him to fight above his level. The punch landed on Huey's chest. Huey's body bent like a shrimp, and he coughed out blood. The sound of bones breaking was heard again. Huey landed on the ground and looked at Zichen in disbelief. His Thunder Spirit technique was a 2-star Holy Spirit attack. How powerful was that? Why did it not cause any damage to Zichen? The crowd of spectators outside were also extremely shocked. Die! 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 Several powerful attacks flew out from between Huey's eyebrows. These attacks turned into various weapons and entered Zichen's mind. In Zichen's mind, his soul power formed a defense and blocked all the attacks. Even the 3-star ancient demon spirit dragon soul attack could not hurt Zichen, let alone Huey, who was only a 2-star Holy Spirit. After blocking all the attacks, Zichen arrived in front of Huey again and punched him again. Every punch was full force, and Huey's bones cracked. The pain made Huey scream, and more soul attacks flew out. However, Zichen was like a soulless person. He did not even frown and continued to punch. Everyone's hearts were beating wildly as they listened to the deafening roar through the Space Guardian. The roar was like a mountain hitting one's body. It was terrifying. Leilan widened her eyes in disbelief. She did not expect Zichen to be so powerful. Liz's beautiful eyes flashed. She seemed to understand why the Lord insisted on giving Zichen the slot. The battle was over. Zichen defeated Huey, a 2-star Holy Spirit, with his 1-star strength. Following this, he believed that all the troubles would be gone with a wave of his hand. "Get lost!" Suddenly, Huey let out a furious roar as a terrifying power erupted from his body, sending Zichen flying. Zichen, who was flying backwards, felt a sense of danger. After landing, his expression became solemn. Huey was covered in blood. He stood up shakily with a talisman in his hand. The talisman flickered with lightning. The sense of danger came from this talisman. That's a third-grade talisman. Seeing this scene, the expressions of the people in the outer circle changed greatly. This kind of talisman was unique to the Thunder Clan, and its grade corresponded to the level of the Holy Spirit. Only a 5-star Saint Spirit could refine such a third-grade talisman. Once it was activated, even a 3-star Saint Spirit would be injured. As for Zichen, a 1-star Holy Spirit, if he was hit, he would most likely die immediately. Feeling threatened, Zichen's hand flashed, and the demon's saber appeared in his hand. This was his strongest move. He was confident that he could kill Hu Wei with a slash of his blade at full power. One slash. Hu Wei, what are you doing? Lei Lan angrily rebuked. He was very anxious, but he could no longer enter the space. Hu Wei, put down the talisman. This is just a competition, Liz reminded him. If Hu Wei used the talisman to kill Zichen in this situation, not only would Hu Wei be implicated, but the entire Hu clan would be implicated. Come on! Come at me again! Hu Wei, who had almost all of his bones broken by Zichen, gritted his teeth and stood up. He held the talisman in his hand and shouted at Zichen. Aren't you very capable? Come at me again! Zichen narrowed his eyes, and the frequency of his breathing decreased. You little thief who use your status as a saint to snatch someone else's spot. Come at me if you can. Let me see how strong you are. Hu Wei's body was dripping with blood, and so was his face. Even his eyes were red. He, who had never suffered such a big loss in his life, was thoroughly defeated this time. Those people who were originally called over by him to be his witnesses did not see his rise, but they saw his pathetic side. He believed that it would not be long before his deeds spread throughout the Thunder Clan. He felt that he had lost his face, his dignity, and at the same time, his rationality. In his heart, only by killing Zichen or humiliating him could he salvage today's situation. You lost, Zichen said in a deep voice, his left hand holding the black scabbard tightly. I didn't lose. I'm still standing. Come at me if you can. Hu Wei raised the talisman in his hand, ignoring the voice outside the space. Little thief, get over here. He stared at Zichen, his fingers tightening the talisman. Countless lightning bolts surged, and a tyrannical aura began to wreak havoc. If you don't get over here, I'll kill you! He roared in anger, his voice extremely loud. Get over here, kneel in front of me, and admit your mistake. Say loudly that you're wrong, that you're a thief. Zichen looked at him, his serious expression gradually relaxing. Are you sure you want me to do this? Of course, get over here. Don't bargain with me, quickly kowtow and admit your mistake. Hu Wei had lost his rationality and was roaring loudly at the moment. Zichen's left hand landed on the hilt of his saber. His eyes gradually turned cold, and a trace of killing intent that had never appeared before appeared. It was just a competition, and he did not want to kill anyone. But now, his killing intent had been aroused. You're a useless thief who only relies on the saint. Get over here, kneel, and admit your mistake. Don't be pretentious. As long as I crush the talisman, you'll definitely die. Hu Wei was still roaring loudly. I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Don't blame me when you die. The killing intent in Zichen's eyes skyrocketed, and he took a deep breath. Countless lightning bolts burst out from his body. The original demon bone appeared again. He took a step forward, and the isolated space seemed to tremble. At this moment, Zichen's figure gave people a sense of majesty and loftiness. Whoosh! The demon's saber was unsheathed. A flash of light appeared in the isolated space. The light was so bright that people could not open their eyes. The saber light went straight for Hu Wei at an extremely fast speed. Hu Wei, who had lost his rationality, did not have time to crush the talisman. The saber light was already close to him. Boom! The saber light that was close to Hu Wei shattered, and the powerful force sent Hu Wei flying backward. The talisman in his hand almost fell out of his hand. He reacted and wanted to crush the talisman, But he found that he was powerless. There was a powerful force suppressing him. Hu Wei, who had regained his rationality, saw that there was another person in front of him. It was that person who had blocked Zichen's attack for him. It was a middle-aged man. He raised his hand and shattered the saber light. Zichen stood in the distance and stared at the man. The demon's saber had already returned to its sheath. The middle-aged man retracted his hand and looked at Zichen. He said, "It's just a competition. Why do you have to kill?" His voice was not sharp, nor was it a question. It was more like an inquiry. Zichen said, "He has a reason to die." The middle-aged man did not seem to expect Zichen to answer in such a way. He was stunned and said, "This is a competition after all." Then his gaze fell on the demon's saber in Zichen's hand. His expression changed slightly. "The demon's saber of the demon clan?" Zichen nodded. The middle-aged man said again, "The 7-demon saber?" Zichen nodded again. Chapter 3391. Moving his gaze away from the demonic blade, the middle-aged man looked back at Hu Wei, but his attitude was no longer as good as before. He said indifferently, "Your skills are inferior, and even your character is inferior. I need an explanation from the Hu family for this." Hu Wei did not even dare to refute, and saluted the middle-aged man. He was completely awake, and there was only fear and regret in his eyes. Because the middle-aged man did not want an explanation from him, but an explanation from the Hu family. It was related to the family. How could he not be afraid? The middle-aged man waved his hand, and the battle space disappeared. As the middle-aged man appeared, the others saluted him with cupped fists. "Greetings, Chief Commander!" This person was the Chief Commander of this city, a 9-star Saint Spirit. He was the only one who could enter the battle space in time to save Hu Wei. Everyone present was a Saint Spirit, so their vision was naturally very high. They saw the previous battle clearly. If the Chief Commander did not appear, Hu Wei, who was blinded by anger, would have been killed with a single slash. He did not have time to crush the talisman that he relied on the most. "Disperse!" The Chief Commander waved his left hand, clenched his right hand behind his back, and turned to leave. However, the moment he turned around, Liz noticed that there was a trace of dark red blood on the Chief Commander's clenched fist. Her eyes were immediately filled with shock. Zichen actually injured the Chief Commander with that slash? She looked at Zichen again, feeling that he was even more mysterious. Very few people noticed this detail, because everyone was staring at Zichen. Zichen had already put away his demonic blade and stood there calmly. A 1-star defeated a 2-star, and even almost killed him. Such powerful combat strength was rare in the Thunder clan. And people with such combat strength often did not need to participate in the assessment to get a spot as a core disciple. No matter how powerful the force behind you was, it could not suppress the rise of such an existence. Because all they needed was a challenge. There was such a rule in the Thunder clan. If they challenged a core disciple, as long as the other party agreed, they could get everything from the other party after winning. The current Zichen was fully deserving of being a core disciple. But to live in the Thunder Room, this strength was still not enough. It was not that his combat strength was not strong, but his realm was not enough. Hu Wei stood there in a daze. As he listened to the discussions around him, his expression became even more unsightly. This time, he suffered a crushing defeat. "Let's go." Zichen turned around and looked at Liz. "Let's go." Reese finally reacted and led Zichen away. Lei Lan also followed. He was also shocked by Zichen's battle prowess. If a 1-star could defeat a 2-star, then what about when he was a 2-star? Wouldn't he be able to fight against 3 stars? She felt nervous. What if Zichen broke through to 2 stars and had the battle prowess to fight against 3 stars? At that time, wouldn't he not need her anymore? This won't do. I have to go into seclusion properly after I return and strive to reach 4-star as soon as possible. Lei Lan secretly made up her mind. Zichen didn't know what Lei Lan was thinking at this moment. He only knew that after this battle, there would be fewer people who wanted to cause trouble for him. After the great commander left, he looked at his right hand. There was a bloodstain there. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. I was careless. The bloodstain had stopped bleeding, but being injured by a 1-star, no one would believe it if word got out. It's actually the 7-demon blade. The great commander shook his head and said, To be able to injure me, it seems like this is the legendary 7-demon blade. It is said that there are not many in the demon race who can fuse them when they are in the spirit ascension realm. I didn't expect him to do it. He's really amazing. It's more than amazing. A voice sounded. Didn't you notice that the demon bone was also fused? The great commander heard the voice and looked up. He saw a person standing in front of him. City Lord? He was a little surprised. Was the City Lord also paying attention to the previous battle? The City Lord smiled and said, No matter what, he is someone who Thunder D. Saint thinks highly of. Naturally, no accident can happen here. But it seems like I worried too much. The great commander said, City Lord, what did you mean just now? Could it be that his demon bone was also fused? The City Lord said, The 7-demon bone, 7-demon blade, and the spirit cultivation saber scabbard are all like this. A look of surprise appeared on the great commander's face. The City Lord smiled. In fact, he had just seen some information about Zichen, and he was very surprised when he saw it. He had the battle record of killing a divine spirit when he was in the spirit ascension realm. This was not something an ordinary person could do. Then this matter? The great commander looked at the City Lord. Depends on the Hu family's attitude. Zichen stepped onto the teleportation array that would take him away from the core city. In the next moment, they arrived in the Eastern Thunder region. The outer region of the Thunder region was the world of the outer region. The area here was the largest, and it was divided into 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. Zichen arrived at the Eastern Thunder region, which was divided into many star regions. This place was open to the public, so many people gathered here, not limited to the Thunder clan. Moreover, there were many opportunities here. In the Saint Spirit realm, it was one of the few major forces. With the Saint's token, no one dared to make things difficult for the 3. In fact, these people couldn't wait to see Zichen here. After all, he was a core disciple. As the saying goes, distant relatives are not as good as close neighbors. There were many benefits to being close to a core disciple. The man named Yaheng patiently explained the regions to Zichen, as well as some good geographical locations. Zichen listened one by one, and after a moment said, It's not too good. It's relatively remote. There are no important resources in my world, only some friends living there. Yaheng, who had always been very respectful to Zichen, shook his head and said, No, sir, you're wrong. The early world may be nothing to you, sir, but as your realm increases, you will need more and more resources. Then, the world will become more and more important. In a prosperous world, the tax every 100 years is a very considerable number. The bigger and more prosperous the world, the more people there will be, until this world becomes a new core place. Zichen understood Yaheng's meaning. A world's core, in addition to being safer, was also more prosperous and more resources. It was said that no matter what level, resources were needed. Those families in the Thunder clan, in addition to having many powerhouses, also controlled many core places. Their wealth was astonishing. If it was Zichen alone, it didn't matter, but there were many people in his world. Zichen had to consider their future. Okay, then find a place to develop. Zichen finally nodded. Yaheng's face showed a touch of joy, and immediately said, Sir, what do you think of this place? It's close to the Gahai sacred domain. In the early stage, we can build a transmission array here and slowly develop. Zichen nodded and said, Okay. Yaheng smiled and said, Good, sir, can you give me the Holy Thunder token? After I've arranged everything, I'll ask you to create a world. Zichen nodded again, and Liz gave the Thunder token to Yaheng. Sir, you can walk around here, maybe you'll find some unexpected good things. This is the most prosperous trading place in the Eastern Thunder Territory. Zichen declined Yaheng's idea of arranging someone to lead the way. Then, the three left this place and walked in the trading place. This place was very prosperous and lively. There was an endless stream of people. As a famous prosperous place in the Saint Spirit domain, holy spirits could be seen everywhere. Chapter 3392. In front of Zichen, there were 5 people coming out of a shop. After seeing the 5 people, Zichen's face revealed a surprised expression. Because those 5 people were all wearing kasayas and holding prayer beads in their hands. They were all bald monks. What's wrong? Leilan noticed Zichen's abnormality. Zichen said, There are still monks in this world? Leilan's expression changed. She remembered Zichen's description of her last time and snorted. Liz said, Of course there are. The Buddhist domain has an extraordinary status in the Saint Spirit realm. The Buddhist domain, is it a domain of its own? Zichen asked. Liz nodded. Zichen said again, In that case, those who live there are all bald thieves? Liz did not answer immediately, showing that she was a little embarrassed. Amitabha, what do you mean, benefactor? At this time, a voice came from the front. It was an old monk who walked in front of Zichen. The old monk's face was peaceful, without joy or sorrow. Behind him, the other 4 monks, although they also bowed to Zichen with their palms together, there was dissatisfaction in their eyes. Being called bald thieves out of the blue, no one seemed to be happy. The fact that they did not get angry on the spot proved that these monks had self-restraint. Zichen quickly followed the monk's bow and said, Master, please don't blame me. I said something wrong, but after seeing you, I was too excited and blurted it out. The old monk chanted the name of Buddha again. The dissatisfaction on the faces of the other 4 deepened. They thought that the apology was fine before, but why did it change in the end? What do you mean by blurting it out? Do you often describe monks like that? Zichen also noticed his slip of the tongue and explained again. To be honest, I have a friend from the lower realms who is a Buddhist. I didn't expect to see a Buddhist here, so I'm happy for that friend. It proves that there is an organization here. The old monk was surprised and said, Benefactor's friend is from the 10,000 spirit realm? Yes. Zichen said. It's just that he's still cultivating alone. I didn't know that there was an organization in the Saint Spirit realm. Amitabha, it's the Buddhist sect. The old monk said. Clearly, the word organization didn't sound good. Zichen said, Master, may I ask if you can take my friend with you? He is very intelligent. Ever since Monk came here, although he had been growing, his speed had obviously slowed down. Now that he had met someone from the Buddhist region, once the monk returned to that place, he believed that he would definitely improve at a rapid pace. The Buddha is a fated person. I can meet him, the old monk said. My name is Zichen. How should I address you, Grand Master? Poor monk Xingjiao. Zichen said. Grand Master Xingju, can you wait for a while? My friend is in my world. Can he wait for me to land in this world? Otherwise, it will be very difficult for us to come back after we return. Xingju nodded. While waiting, Zichen asked a few questions about the Buddhist domain. Zichen's attitude was getting better and better. This made those who had opinions about Zichen change their attitude toward him. Leilan was speechless. She knew how Zichen described his friend. May I know why Grand Master is here this time? Zichen had just asked, and before Xingju could answer, Yahun came back with the Holy Thunder token. My lord, the matter has been settled. Although there was some unpleasantness, it's all settled. Yahun took the token and walked forward, handing it back to Zichen with both hands. After seeing the token, Xingju's expression changed. Why is it you, old monk? Why are you still here? Are you pestering my lord? Seeing Xingju beside him, Yaheng's face immediately showed dissatisfaction. You know Grand Master Xingju? Zichen asked. Yaheng said, My lord, this old monk came to the sacred Thunder region to buy materials. Not to mention that we don't have such materials, even if we did, it would not be his turn. What materials do we not have in the sacred thunder region? Lei Lan asked curiously. Even Liz was very surprised. Although this was the outer region of the sacred thunder region, it was also the most bustling place in the region. There should be all kinds of materials here, Yaheng said. It's the bone of the sacred thunder beast. So it's that. Both Lei Lan and Liz had a look of realization on their faces. Zichen asked in surprise. What's that? He was still puzzled. It's a kind of exotic beast on the sacred spirit battlefield. It's unique to the Thunder Clan. It's equivalent to the native exotic beasts on the battlefield of gods and demons. Liz explained. Only core disciples can get it. Every time they get it, they have to give a portion to the Thunder Clan, and the rest can be used to trade. However, every time it appears, it will be fought over. There's a price but no supply. Zichen understood. Yaheng said. The bone of the sacred thunder beast is rare, and the price is very high. However, it can't be said that it doesn't exist. It's just that this old monk's price is too low. Naturally, no one wants to trade with him. But he's really good. He's not leaving and is shamelessly searching house by house. Zichen looked back at Xingju and asked. Grandmaster, what do you need the bone for? Grandmaster Xingju said. To be honest, it's for refining weapons. If you add some of the bone of the sacred thunder beast to Buddhist weapons, it will be very effective against demons. Unfortunately, the price outside is too high. So, I wanted to come here to take a look. Zichen said. It's for killing demons? Liz said. The region where the Buddhist region is located is not very stable. Demons often appear there. It's hard to say which force has killed the most demons in the sacred spirit realm, but the Buddhist region's ranking is definitely at the top. Zichen admired the person who really killed demons. He looked at Yaheng and said, Since it's for killing demons, can't the Thunder region make an exception? Yaheng smiled bitterly. Lei Lan said, This kind of thing is almost the best choice for refining weapons. The price is extremely high, but there's not much of it. Once the news spreads, it will be immediately booked in advance. Zichen looked back at Grandmaster Xingju and said apologetically, I've just come to the Sacred Thunder region and haven't entered the Sacred Spirit battlefield. If I have it, I don't mind sharing it with Grandmaster. Can you use the primal beasts from the battlefield of gods and demons instead? Grandmaster Xingju asked in surprise. Does Benefactor have primal beast materials? Zichen nodded and said, I've been to the battlefield of gods and demons once. There are some things I haven't dealt with and I don't know how to use them. Grandmaster, come with me to take a look? Grandmaster Xingju nodded, his expression calm. Behind him, there was obvious joy in the eyes of the other four people. Lei Lan was very surprised. She didn't expect Zichen to have such materials. Meanwhile, Risa's expression changed. Sir, come with me. The place has been chosen. Chapter 3393. After arriving at an empty area, Yaheng said, This place is close to the Gahai sacred region, so it's easy to gain popularity. Previously, the people from Gahai sacred region weren't willing, but after I took out the token, they gave up. When Zichen heard this, he frowned slightly. Are you making things difficult for him? Yaheng said. How so? Sir, you don't have to mind. This is our Thunder Clan's territory, not someone's private territory. It's just that they're too selfish and want to treat this place as their private land. Changing the topic, Yaheng said. Moreover, they can't wait for a core disciple to land here. Zichen nodded slightly, as long as they didn't steal other people's things. Standing in this area, Zichen began to move the world. The world traveled through the void. Because it had accurate coordinates, its speed was very fast. A moment later, space distorted, and a bolt of lightning appeared above. The lightning flashed, and the world seemed to fall. A shadow fell, and the world began to grow, falling on this strange place. The world stopped in the void and began to operate on its own. The people brought by Xingju all looked ahead curiously. This was the world of the core disciples of the sacred Thunder sacred region, and it was almost impossible to see. Zichen said, "Let's go!" The group flew towards Zichen's world and then entered it. The moment they entered the world, they were attracted by the pure green color. With their spiritual sense, they could naturally see the city of trees in the green world, as well as the humans living in the city. They were amazed. Xingju said, "I didn't expect Benefactor's world to be so lively. Master, follow me." Zichen's figure descended, heading toward the center of the city of trees. "Evil good monk, come out quickly." While descending, Zichen also transmitted his voice. "You're finally willing to come back." The next moment, the monk's laughter rang out. "Come and see your Lord Buddha. I've broken through to the spirit ascension realm." Zichen's figure descended. An evil good monk appeared at the same time. The moment he looked up, he saw the monks beside Zichen and blurted out, "Bald donkey! There are bald donkeys in this world?" Liz and Lei Lan couldn't help but laugh. It seemed that this was Zichen's friend, but it was a little too weird. Monk Xingju was also slightly taken aback. Fortunately, he was knowledgeable and immediately chanted the name of Buddha. Zichen glared at the monk. The monk came to his senses and shook his robe. A golden Buddhist light enveloped his body and his temperament changed drastically. "Amitabha! This poor monk, Shan Xie, greets you all." At this moment, the monk was like the reincarnation of a Buddha. The people who came with Monk Xingju all stared at him in disbelief. This change made him seem like a completely different person. The former was like a scoundrel, while the latter was like an enlightened monk. Liz and Lei Lan were also shocked by the changes in the monk's appearance. If it wasn't for the fact that the other party's aura was very weak, they would definitely have mistaken him for a core disciple of a Buddhist sect. "Shan Xie, this is Master Xingju, and these are his disciples. Come over quickly," Zichen said to the monk. However, the way he addressed Shan Xie sounded awkward. The monk flew forward and bowed again. "Shan Xie greets the holy teacher," Zichen said again. "Master, this is the friend I was talking about. What do you think?" A golden light flashed in Xingju's eyes. He sized up the monk and said, Shanzai, Buddha helps those who are fated. Shan Xie, are you willing to follow me into the Buddhist sect?" Behind Xingju, the expressions of the other monks changed. He directly invited him just like that? Wasn't it too fast? One must know that once Xingju invited someone into the Buddhist sect, they would become an official disciple. "This disciple is willing." The monk put his palms together. Good. Xingju nodded and smiled with satisfaction. "This poor monk came to the east this time. There is no need for this trip. Zichen was also very satisfied. Obviously, this Xingju was really capable to be able to see the monk's extraordinariness. The monk was known as Shan Xie and had an extraordinary background. He was definitely the most mysterious of the friends that followed him. Zichen said, "Master, let's go to the tree hall for a chat." When the group went to the tree hall, Su Mingyao was already there to receive them. When they saw Su Mingyao, Lei Lan and Liz's eyes lit up. Su Mingyao wore a white dress and stood on top of the tree hall. A light breeze blew past and her dress fluttered slightly, as if she was going to ride the wind. Xingju also saw Su Mingyao and his expression changed. The feeling that Su Mingyao gave people, other than her beauty, there was also a mysterious aura. This kind of mystery shouldn't have appeared in front of them. Because Su Mingyao was only at the initial stage of the spirit ascension realm. In front of these holy spirits, how could she be mysterious? Zichen introduced her to Xingju. "Master, this is my fiancée." Master Xingju put his palms together. "Amitabha." Xingju greets the benefactor. "Greetings, Master. Everyone is a guest. Please come in." Su Mingyao returned the greeting with a faint smile on her beautiful face. She wasn't nervous at all. At this time, Demon Ape and the others also arrived and stood under the tree hall. Obviously, they hadn't seen Zichen in a long time. Xingju turned back to look at them, Buddhist light flowing around his body. "Benefactor Zichen really has hidden dragons and crouching tigers." Xingju's eyes have been opened today. Lei Lan and Liz looked at Lin Shui and the others. They had looks comparable to Su Mengyao, and each had a unique aura. Although their cultivation levels were low, it was obvious that they had extraordinary potential. The two didn't expect that Zichen's world was a complete world with so many humans living in it. Yaheng was even more surprised. He had never seen such a situation before. The group entered the tree hall. Only Xingju, Lei Lan, and Liz sat down while the others stood. Xingju pulled the monk and was very satisfied. After Su Mengyao served everyone tea and snacks, Zichen said, "Mengyao, Master came this time because he wants to see our primordial beast materials. Bring some over." "Okay." Su Mengyao nodded and left the tree hall. "I can't see through her." After Su Mengyao left, Liz transmitted to Lei Lan. "She seems to be covered by a layer of fog." Lei Lan remained silent. She could not understand why Zichen, this rascal, would have such a beauty by his side. After a while, Su Mengyao returned with a portion of the primordial beast materials. "The materials are all here. Master, please take a look." Light flashed in front of Su Mengyao and various materials appeared. She explained, "These are primordial beast materials, these are primordial divine beasts, and these are primordial spirit beasts. These are primordial beast materials with dual attributes. They belong to different factions." Chapter 3394. The battlefield of gods and demons was one of the special lands of opportunity in the Saint Spirit realm. For spirit ascenders, there were great opportunities inside. But that place only opened once in a while. Although the great powers had the same Holy Spirit battlefield as the battlefield of gods and demons, the two were actually different. True primordial beasts could only be found on the battlefield of gods and demons, and there weren't many of them. In addition, the battlefield of gods and demons had been open for many years, so primordial beast materials were definitely one of the most expensive materials for spirit ascension weapons. Such materials were hard to come by. But today, Su Mengyao had brought out a complete series. There were 3 types of primal beasts: God, Devil, and Spirit. There were also 3 types of dual attribute materials: God, Devil, Spirit, and Spirit. Lei Lan's eyes widened in curiosity. After all, she had no family backing her and didn't know much about business. But Liz was different from Yaheng. Liz was very surprised, and Yaheng covered his mouth. He was afraid that he would lose his composure at this time and disturb the Holy Spirits here. Zichen's materials, which weren't easy to deal with, were absolute treasures to Yaheng. And the more, the better. He would take as much as he could get. The disciples behind Xingju were also very curious. They had only heard about the resources on the battlefield of gods and demons, but had never seen such a complete set. Xingju was different. He looked away from the resources and asked Zichen, "Benefactor, did you bring out all these resources?" Zichen nodded and said, "I was lucky last time and brought some out. But the origin crystals have already been refined, so only these materials are left. Oh, there's also a lot of primordial beast meat that hasn't been eaten yet, and there's a lot of blood that can't be processed." Hearing Zichen's words, Yaheng even had the heart to kill himself. His full name was Yaheng, and he was the manager of the Jella family in this outer realm. This time, Liz had personally brought Zichen here to inform Yaheng in advance. Obviously, she also wanted to build a good relationship with Zichen. Not to mention other things, just the special care that Holy Venerable Lady had shown Zichen was enough for them to rope him in. Yaheng's original plan was to place Zichen's world near the Jella family's world. That way, it would be more convenient to be neighbors with this core disciple. Naturally, their relationship would also be better. But at the last moment, after Yaheng said those words, Liz changed her mind, so Yaheng purposely chose this place. "My lord," Yaheng said, but after Liz glanced at him, he didn't say anything else. Zichen looked at Yaheng. Yaheng said respectfully, "Sir, please discuss the cooperation with Grandmaster first. This humble one has a presumptuous request, but it's not urgent." He didn't know if it was an illusion, but Zichen felt that Yaheng's attitude towards him seemed to be more respectful. Zichen said with a smile, "What kind of cooperation do I have with you? Just take whatever you like, Master. This is equivalent to a meeting gift from good and evil to Master." "Amitabha, good indeed." When Grandmaster Xingju heard this, he immediately stood up and put his palms together. "How can I accept your generosity?" Good and Evil said. "You don't have to be so polite, sacred teacher. Zichen is rich and has a lot of these things." Zichen also said that this is a meeting gift from this humble monk to sacred teacher. "Naturally, I can't be stingy." Zichen smiled but didn't say anything. This guy really had a good appetite. He even wanted to take a piece of meat with him. However, Zichen didn't expose him. Instead, he nodded and said, "Good and evil is right. I can't be stingy with a meeting gift. In the future, I'll have to trouble Grandmaster to take care of me in the Buddhist domain. What kind of material does Grandmaster fancy?" Xingju said. "Since Benefactor is sincere, this humble monk will speak. Among the many resources, the most useful to us are primordial beasts with spirit and demon attributes." Zichen nodded and said, "In that case, I'll give Grandmaster 5 complete sets of materials." 5 complete sets of materials were equivalent to 5 spirit and demon dual attribute primordial beasts. Xingju was slightly startled, as if he was very surprised. Zichen said, "I know Grandmaster doesn't like killing. We'll break down the 5 sets of materials. There won't be any flesh and blood in them." Xingju still didn't say anything. Good and Evil winked at Zichen. Zichen said, "Is it not enough? Fine, I'll give Grandmaster 10 sets of materials. If 10 sets aren't enough, then we—" "Oh no, this humble monk didn't mean that." Xingju immediately interrupted Zichen and said, Amitabha. Benefactor is too considerate. Actually, 5 sets are enough." Zichen smiled and said, "Since Grandmaster is satisfied, then we'll go with the 10 sets we agreed on. Grandmaster, please wait a moment. The 10 sets will be brought up soon." Amitabha. Xingju put his palms together and bowed to Zichen. "Benefactor, can you bring some more beast blood? When refining weapons, it can also increase the grade. Of course, it's equivalent to 10 spirit and demon primordial beasts." Zichen said. Xingju said, "Meat is useless to us." Zichen added, "Grandmaster, you can also bring it back and exchange it with other factions for other things." "Thank you." Hearing the two's conversation, Yaheng became anxious. Even the look in Liz's eyes changed. This Zichen was really too generous. He had only met once, but he had already given her 10 dual attribute spirit and demon primordial beasts. Even if he sold them for materials, they would be sold for a sky-high price. Why was he giving them away for free? Liz was also shocked, but she quickly regained her senses. When she looked at Zichen again, her expression was clearly different. Su Mengao stood to the side, the smile on her face never changing. When Zichen was establishing his faction, she was in charge. She naturally understood what Zichen meant. After giving Xingju so many benefits today, he would definitely take good care of the monk when he returned. In the future, the monk would definitely get more benefits from the Buddhist domain. The demon ape brought the materials and placed them in a spirit ring. Zichen took the spirit ring and handed it to Xingju with both hands. "Grandmaster, please take a look." Xingju thanked him again. After taking the spirit ring, he thanked him again. How could he count something that was given to him for free? "As for the holy lightning demon bone, Grandmaster, after I get it, I will inform you. You can send someone to get it," Zichen said. "Absolutely not, Benefactor, absolutely not." Grandmaster Xingju hurriedly refused. He was already a 5-star sacred spirit, so he was naturally not a fool. He understood the meaning of Zichen giving him resources. In addition, he saw that Zichen had a sacred venerate token. Coupled with Yaheng's attitude towards Zichen, it was obvious that Zichen was not an ordinary person. This kind of person could only be befriended. How could he keep exploiting them? Moreover, in the sacred thunder domain, A 5-star sacred spirit like him was nothing. Otherwise, Yehun, a mere spirit ascension realm cultivator, would not call him an old monk without any respect. Chapter 3395. Ziqin had just returned and was about to leave without even drinking. Monk was a little reluctant, and said that he would leave in a few days. Ziqin said, "Hurry up and leave. You're too weak." After discovering Xingju, Ziqin thought of a problem, a very serious problem. He was very happy to see Monk off. Monk had potential. Since he had an organization, he naturally couldn't delay. On the same day, Monk left with Xingju. "Take care. If there's anything, send someone to inform me." Everyone appeared and bade farewell to Monk. Xingju stood in the sky and looked at the people below. His body was emitting a golden light, and so was his eyes. He had a special ability that allowed him to see the potential of others. It was better than some testing methods. At this moment, in his eyes, the bodies of the people below were shining brightly and dazzlingly. This represented one's potential. None of the people below were mortals. They were all top geniuses. As for Monk, his potential was similarly dazzling. Xingju left the world with Tyrant. Everyone was a little disappointed, but they were happy for Monk from the bottom of their hearts. Ziqin looked at Yehun and asked, "What did you want to say?" Yehun said, "Can I ask?" Before Yehun could finish, Liz interrupted him. She said, "Do you still have a lot of resources from the primordial beasts?" Ziqin said, "There's still a lot." Liz said, "Why don't we work together? Let us handle these resources and we'll both benefit." Ziqin asked, "How do we work together?" "The resources from the primordial beasts can be used to refine weapons. Every weapon will be placed in a certain proportion. When the time comes, we'll split the profits according to the proportion," Liz said. This matter was obviously not simple and involved many follow-up issues. Yehun said, "I have a suggestion, but I don't know if I should say it." "Say it," Ziqin said. Yehun looked outside the city. "I noticed that there are trees here, and there are fruits on the trees. That's why I feel that we should set up a workshop in this world specifically for brewing wine. We can use this special fruit, as well as some of the blood of the protozoa that Milord obtained. When the time comes, we can sell it in this world and increase the popularity of this world. We can also set up weapon workshops here and sell weapons in this world." Obviously, Yeheng's thinking was a step further than Liz's. While working together, he also brought popularity to this world. Ziqin nodded and said, "This is a good suggestion." Yeheng said, "Of course, the most important thing is to see how many similar resources you can provide. If there aren't enough resources, the accumulated popularity will quickly dissipate." Ziqin said, "Resources are not a problem for the time being. I will take you to have a look later. As for how to cooperate, you can send someone to discuss with Mingyao." Now that this matter had been preliminarily settled, there were still many things to be discussed. It was not something that could be completed in a day or two. Most importantly, the teleportation array had not been built yet. However, with Zichen's special identity, no one made things difficult for him. Soon, someone came to investigate and find a suitable place. When they returned, only Lei Lan and Zichen went back. Liz said that she wanted to go back to her family. Obviously, this matter was not small and would require a lot of resources. She needed the approval of her family. "I didn't expect a scoundrel like you to have so many good things," Lei Lan said. Zichen smiled. "But I have to remind you that although your luck is good, it is all based on one thing. That is, you are still a core disciple of the sacred Thunder region," Lei Lan said solemnly. "Without this identity, everything you have obtained today will disappear even faster. I know that." As someone who had been through this before, Zichen knew this better than anyone else. He already had a plan in his mind. Zichen said, "Take me to the sacred Thunder region." "What?" Lei Lan was surprised. "I want to see the sacred Thunder region. You know where he is, right?" Zichen looked at Lei Lan. Lei Lan said, I know, but the sacred thunder region has a weird temper. He might not see you. Take me there. If the sacred thunder region doesn't want to see me, then forget it, Zichen said. All right then, come with me. The two returned to the core city. Zichen was surprised and asked, The sacred thunder region is in this city? In this world, but not in this city. Then, Lei Lan took Zichen to another place. There were many teleportation arrays there. One of them was the place where the sacred thunder region lived. Lei Lan was a disciple of the sacred thunder region. Those who guarded the teleportation array naturally did not dare to stop her. The two appeared from the teleportation array and saw a small courtyard. The gate of the courtyard was closed and there was no one guarding it. Zichen was surprised and asked, This is the place where the sacred thunder region lives? Why is there not even a guard? The sacred thunder region needs guards? Lei Lan walked forward and said, There is a rule in the sacred thunder region. If the door cannot be opened, then he will not see anyone. If the door can be opened, then he wants to see you. She walked to the door and said, Come and open it. I have been here several times, but it has only been opened once. Zichen walked forward. Before he could push the door open, the door automatically opened from the inside with a creak. Lei Lan looked forward and saw an old man standing at the door. Butler, are you going out? Lei Lan asked. The butler smiled and said, The sacred thunder region knows that Zichen is here, so he asked me to open the door and welcome you. Lei Lan was unhappy when she heard that. What? Welcome him personally? Since when did the sacred thunder region become so hospitable? The butler smiled and ignored Lei Lan's disrespect to the sacred thunder region. He stepped aside and asked Zichen to come in. Thank you. Zichen cupped his fists and thanked him. Then he stepped through the door. Lei Lan followed behind him angrily. She looked at Zichen and could not understand why the sacred thunder region cared so much about him. This guy did not have 3 heads and 6 arms. Under the butler's lead, Zichen walked through the courtyard and saw the sacred thunder region. What's the matter? The sacred thunder region stood up and looked at Zichen. Zichen hesitated. The sacred thunder region smiled and said, Say it. There are no outsiders here. Only then did Lei Lan, who was fuming with anger, look slightly better. I want to ask if the sacred thunder region has any enemies. Zichen asked. The sacred thunder region said, What's the matter? Just say it. Zichen said, I have some friends. I would like to ask the sacred thunder region to send them out. Chapter 3396. Lei Lan did not expect that Zichen came to Lei Di to ask him to be a coolie. In her opinion, asking Lei Di to send someone away was a laborious task in itself. And with her understanding of Lei Di, he would not refuse. What kind of joke was this? Lei Di was famous for his inattentiveness and laziness. He did not care about the Thunder Clan and never developed his force. How could such a person run errands for others? What's more, he was the Saint Venerable Lei Di. Even if she did not regard him as a Saint Venerable, he was still a Saint Venerable. Lei Di was a little surprised. Tell me, Zichen said. I have 2 friends who have the power of the moon. I would like to trouble you to send them to the Moon Clan. Lei Di said. Just these 2? Didn't you say you have a lot of friends? Zichen said. One is good at the power of glory, the other is good at the power of stars, one is very talented in the way of the sword, one has the bloodline of the demon race, and some are strange beasts. Zichen said a lot of different power systems in one breath. Lei Lan was almost petrified. This guy really did not regard himself as an outsider. Not only did he ask Lei Di to run errands, but he also treated him as a servant. This was not to send them to one place, but to many places. Even with Lei Di's means, it would take some time to complete. After almost finishing talking about the characteristics of those friends, Zichen said, That's why I asked you, Saint Venerable, if we have any enemies. Lei Di said with a smile. At our level, there are no enemies. Even if the relationship between the 2 sides is not harmonious, It is not a problem to send a few people. Leilon looked at Lady as if she had seen a ghost. What, was this guy really going to agree? Well, let me think. The people you said who use swords can be sent to the Holy Sword Realm. As for the strange beasts, they can be sent to the Holy Spirit Realm of Beasts. Those with the bloodline of the demon race should be people who have refined the bloodline of the demon race. Then send them to the Blood Devil Hell. Those who have refined the bloodline of the God race should be sent to the Blood Devil Realm. Zichen's face lit up as he said, So, the Holy Senior has agreed. Lady said, Sending people there is no problem, but with my influence, I'm afraid I can't let them become core disciples like you and get many resources. Zichen shook his head. There's no need for that. We just need to give them a fair environment. Furthermore, all of them are only in the Spirit Ascension tier, and some of them are not even in the Spirit Ascension tier yet. If it's just a request, it's fine. Lady nodded. Leilon looked at Lady in disbelief. She had never seen such an easygoing person. He was even a little too diligent. She even agreed to Zichen's extremely rude and presumptuous request, which had no regard for seniority. At this moment, she couldn't help but wonder if Zichen was Lady's illegitimate son. Otherwise, why would he be so good to him? After a moment of hesitation, Zichen said, One more thing. I have a friend who is good at divination. Do you know where to send her? Lady said. Is she also your fiancée? Zichen nodded. When he introduced Wang Xian'er and the others, Zichen had said that. Lady laughed. I didn't expect you to be so likable. Not only do you have friends, but you also have many female confidants. Not bad, not bad. Zichen scratched his head and laughed foolishly. Silly! Leilon curled her lips. She had seen those people. They were definitely first-class beauties with unique temperaments. She couldn't figure out why they would like Zichen. Lady said, Since that's the case, let me think. If you're good at divination, there is indeed a special place that is suitable for you. But that place is very strict. Even if I send someone there with my status, I may not be able to get those people to accept her. Suddenly, Lady's expression changed slightly. He said, You're here. Follow me. As soon as he finished speaking, the three of them disappeared from the room. The next moment, Lady was standing in the void. Zichen and Leilon were standing beside him. A woman was standing in front of them. Her face was covered by a veil, and her body was emitting a hazy light. She was very mysterious. Lady, why did you stop me? The woman looked at Lady and called his name. Leilon was a little surprised. Zichen's expression also changed. This woman was also a holy venerable. I have something to ask of you. I didn't expect you to come. Lady said. The woman's eyes flickered. She said in surprise, Are you sure? Do you have something to ask of me? Lady nodded. Have you changed? The woman asked again. Lady's expression was a little gloomy. The Holy Master said, Well, beg me. Be sincere, and I will promise you. Zichen was a little embarrassed. Is she really a holy venerable? Why does she sound like a child? Suddenly, his expression changed again. He looked at Lady differently. Could it be that there was a story between the two of them? Lady snorted and said, Forget it if you don't agree. Zichen was dumbfounded. What was this? Leilon pointed at her head and then pouted at Lady. She meant that there was something wrong with this guy's head. Lady, you've gone too far. How do you know that I won't agree before you say what you want? The woman was angry. Zichen was very tactful and did not speak at this time. He even retreated and turned his head to look in another direction. As an experienced person, he naturally felt that the atmosphere was a little strange. Lady hesitated for a while and then said gently, There's someone I hope you can accept as your disciple. Who is it? Why are you acting like this? The woman stared at Lady. Her eyes seemed to be looking through him. Lady said, My friend's fiancé. What? The woman's eyes flickered. She said coldly, When did you have a fiancé? You're here to piss me off, aren't you? Leilon, who was also retreating, stopped. She was almost petrified. She was not a brainless person. She heard Lady clearly. His friend's fiancé? Wasn't it Sumengyao? Who was his friend? Zichin? How could it be? He was just a one-star holy spirit. How could he be a friend of a holy saint? She's my friend's fiancé, Lady said unhappily. You're a holy saint. How could you be deaf? Your friend's fiancé? What's her cultivation level? The woman's voice softened. Lady looked at Zichin. Zichin said, She's just reached the spirit ascension realm. The woman said, Hey, Lady. Is he the friend you mentioned? Lady said, Can't I? We feel like old friends at first sight. The Holy Master nodded and said, That suits your weird personality. However, this is not a child's play. Lady said, Let's wait and see. By the way, why did you come to the Thunder Field? The woman said, I felt something recently, so I came here for a walk. Maybe I'll find something. Follow me to a place first, and then we'll go and see the person you mentioned. Then, light appeared on the woman's body. They disappeared into thin air. The next moment, the four of them appeared in another world. You're tuning into the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.